Hello and welcome along to round 7 of the DVV Trophy, the penultimate round of this winter's series. We are back at Brussels University today. Thanks for your company live here on GCN Racing. We've got the Elite Women's Race live and a little bit later on the Elite Men's Race. Got to cast our minds all the way back to the Koppenberg Cross, which was round 1 of the DVV Trophy. Let's remind ourselves of the series so far. What a series it has been so far, and here it was in Brussels last year. If we cast our minds back, that Ceylin, Carmen, Alvarado picked up that first big elite victory. What a season she has been having so far. Let's take a look at the standings in the series so far. So if you're not familiar with the DVV Trophy, this is a series that's done on a cumulative time rather than points. So going into today, it's Ceylin, Carmen, Alvarado leading Anna-Marie Horst by 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Yara Castelline in third there at 5:11. Ava Lechner, Alicia Maria Azufi, Sanakan, Ellen Van Looy, Kim van der Stier, Katie Compton and Lucinda Brand are your top 10. But as you can see, the gap's now 20 minutes and 21 seconds separating that top 10 overall. So it really does look like a battle between Horst and Alvarado for that overall title. The final race will be in Lille in February. The 8th of February is the final round. We've got to welcome Nikki Brammeier back with us again today. Nikki, we're looking forward to today's race. It was a new one last year and one where you were in there having a battle.
Yeah, definitely towards the end I kind of found my pace a little bit, but it's a super fast race and it's quite a man-made course, so the sections are quite wide. There's a lot of technical elements to it. Not kind of a physical course, but, you know, we'll probably see some quite close racing today and maybe some people crashing on some of these off-camber sections.
Now, when we look back, let's have a look back to last year's race. And as we said, it was really where we saw Ceylin, Carmen, Alvarado break through. And then when we saw riders before previewing that course on that sort of pre-course ride, new course, new winner, take us through it.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd one when you just come to a totally new course. Like, obviously a lot of these races you race year in, year out, and this is like totally new to everybody. So there's quite a lot of new sections in there, and everybody kind of had to get to grips with it, and everybody knows what that course is like now. They've seen the videos, they've raced it, so they kind of know what to expect this year. There's a lot of on and off the bike sections and kind of having to foresee what's coming up quite early on and be prepared for what's coming up.
Sorry, jumping in there. As a pro rider, when you come to courses like this and we see Alvarado coming in towards the finish, do you almost create a playbook that you go back, you make notes after the race and think, okay, we rode this, we used these tyres, the conditions were like this. Is that something that pro riders do?
Yeah, I always used to just like write down my tyre pressures, what tyres I had on, just like what gear selections I'd used, just so that for the following year I kind of had somewhere to start. And just like little notes on the course, so that in your training beforehand you can kind of do your technical sessions a little bit similar to the courses that are coming up.
And seeing Ceylin cross the line there, as we did last year, it was that first big elite victory. And sometimes we talk about that breakthrough win as commentators, and we all say, "Yeah, you get that first big win, and then they'll just snowball from there." But the rise to the top has just, we saw a sort of a year on year just get better and better. And then this last year, after that big win, she's just again looking absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, she had a fair few podiums last year, and I think this year she's just really stepped up a game again, and she's almost learnt how to win a race, and it's just stayed with her. And some people have that ability straight away, and some people need to spend more time, racing at the front to learn how to win. And she's obviously got that pretty nailed at the moment, I think.
Right, let's have a look at the start list of riders that we can be watching out for today. We're actually still waiting for the final start list. We're only a couple of minutes away from the start, but these were the riders that were on the provisional start list. Sana, I've seen on social media as well, Mariana Vos not starting today, Anna-Marie Hurst, Loisel, Ceylin Del Carmen, Alvarado. She had a win at Osrem again yesterday, so on great form. We've also in there Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Yara Castelline, who sort of looks like she's coming back into a little bit of that sort of early season form. I'm going to miss Mariana Vos today. We always love seeing her on the start list.
Yeah, I think this could have been quite a good race for her. It's quite fast. There's a lot of kind of road sections, grass long sections where you need to stay on the wheel and, use that sprint, that acceleration, which she's got. As I said, I think we'll see some really close racing today with maybe 5 or 6 girls at the front battling for those final spots towards the end.
Now, the riders have been out previewing the course. As soon as we got live pictures, we'll go down to the start line. We've had a lot of racing already today. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to GCN Racing. A lot of you have been asking how we keep being able to bring you free live cyclocross around the world. You can see Pauline Ferrand-Prévot there just warming up. Just getting in those final preparations for the race today. Nikki, I'm quite excited to see Pauline back. She said that she's going to concentrate now on cyclocross and mountain biking.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I think it's really difficult to focus on 3 disciplines. It's difficult enough to focus on 2, but for sure, if anyone can do it, she can. And obviously being off-road is something that she loves, and it's really good to hear that she wants to focus a little bit more on cross. And maybe after the Olympics this year, that's what she'll maybe turn her focus to a little bit more. But yeah, maybe she'll be up the grid a little bit further today, so maybe we'll see her at the front of the race.
You see Ceylin Del Carmen, Alvarado. If you weren't with us for the DVV Trophy on New Year's Day from Bâle, now for Alpecin Phoenix, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot there. Herta Hooker, there's our series leader, Alvarado, the Dutch rider. If you're not familiar with the way everything works, a lot of riders, Nikki, they're now looking for next week for those national championships, aren't they? That last bit of form before they go off and just compete against the best in their country. But the Dutch champs in particular is going to be some race.
To wear those national stripes for anyone, like for me, it's super special, and for the Dutch, it's even more so. I think there's so much competition there, and a lot of riders will be having a little bit of a taper towards that race, and maybe that's why Lucinda's not racing today, Mariana, because they want to win those stripes, they want to win that jersey. So kind of every rider's preparation for that race is a little bit different.
Okay, we're going to go live there very shortly. Don't forget, as we said, subscribe to GCN Racing. Just hit that subscribe button. It's free. Just hit that bell icon as well. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up on our live broadcast as well. That all helps. So just, hit that subscribe button. And hopefully, again, we can build our subscriptions up, be able to continue to bring you great live free cyclocross. We've been absolutely smashing it out the ballpark. Thanks to you, all of you, for watching recently. We had some great viewing figures over the course of the festive period. So, get on board. Get subscribing to that one. We're just waiting for our live start line pictures. For anyone out there, Nikki, in terms of looking at the way Ceylin Alvarado is riding at the moment, she is definitely the rider to beat. And in Bar, looking at that, she seems again evolving very much as a rider into this real off camber section. We were just chatting about this a little bit earlier on, and it's a section that everyone really has really been working on over the course of the course previews. So how are they tackling that one today in terms of tyre pressures and that kind of thing? Because it's not hugely muddy out there.
With off camber sections, the more speed that you can come into them, the better. And a lot of this course, you come into these off cambers from a really tight corner, so you lose a lot of your speed before you even get to them. So you really need to keep your weight back. Your tyre pressure is quite low. But again, this race is a difficult one because there's a lot of fast sections. So you need to either choose a bit of a lower pressure to kind of stay up on those off camber sections, or a bit of a higher pressure so that you've got a lot of speed for those road sections. So it's again, like every rider's going to be different, and some riders really struggle with off camber. So I'm sure we'll see a few crashes and people just trying to stay upright, and it'll be either running or riding it.
It must be a very difficult period as a pro rider when you go through what has been a really busy last couple of weeks, and getting into what we're looking ahead now into this final couple of months of the season in terms of nationals, then into the next World Cups, then into the World Championships, and then finishing off that season. It's there must be a point where you just think, oh, some riders, I just really need a break.
Yeah, which is exactly why you probably see some riders not starting this weekend. They just need to freshen up a little bit. And especially for races like today, which is so fast, you need to be switched on, you need to be fresh, you need to have slept well beforehand so that you're mentally quite aware of everything that's going on, because your reaction time has to be spot on. So yeah, some riders will choose just to train this weekend and just take it a little bit easier and step away from racing, ready for next weekend and the weeks coming up.
And looking around the rest of those the riders that are maybe have come into this period as well, in particular the American riders, Clara Honsinger and those sort of riders. She in particular started very well, and then sort of getting into the time of the season where they want to start making a little bit of an impact. Quite interested to see what riders like her can do over the course of the next couple of weeks. I'm told now we've got start line pictures, so we'll go straight down to the start line for that. Don't forget, get on board over on social media. You can get in on board over on the chat as well. Sana Kant, the world champion in those rainbow stripes. Will we see her in those come the end of the season? It's going to be a strange one if she actually loses those stripes this year. Anna-Marie Hurst is alongside her. Anna Kay just behind in the background. Into the pits here, you can see the mechanics poised and ready with all of the bikes. So just apologise as well, we've got a little bit of a lack of the ambient sound on the race, so Super Sid is just going to try and sort that one out. It just is coming from the host broadcast, so we've got a little bit of host commentary in our ears. So Sid is going to sort that one out for us. All the fans are out in force. Nikki, this is a section that, from a viewer's point of view and a commentator point of view, I absolutely love this section. What was it like to ride? You got to ride up one section and little turn at the top and back down.
What you can't see as a viewer, I think, is just how slippy that ground is underneath, and it's so hard to get traction. And I think there was only a couple of women maybe riding it last year. I think I was riding halfway up it, having to get off and run, but it's just such an odd one because you're not having any speed going into it and you're just trying to get up it, but your back wheel's just totally slipping out at the same time. So it's really hard to get traction on those bits. And it looks today quite similar conditions to last year. So I'm sure that'll be happening again today.
We've also got the addition today. We see Alicia Maria Zufi here with Mount Captains in the back. We've got the addition of the carousel today.
Yeah, that's something that's been in a race in Holland in a place called Rookven for the last couple of years, and I've raced there, and it's quite a fun thing to do, and they've obviously copied it for this race. And Erwin Vervecken, who does all these courses, he loves these new kind of man-made courses, and anything that looks a little bit different, he's always trying to put in these DVV courses. So.
Just,
yeah, that's why it's in today.
Sana Kant, poised ready. Rebecca Farringer in the background. Katie Compton just alongside her. There's Ava Lechner. Good to see Sophie de Boer back as well. Third row start there in the pink. You're watching out, you American fans, for Clara Hunting in her Stars and Stripes jersey. The rider of the moment, Alpecin Fenix, Ceylin Del Carmen, Alvarado, the Dutch rider in there. You can see the riders just watching the lights. We're about to get underway. Good front row start for Clara Hunsinger. That's good. She's got to try and capitalise on that one. Thanks for getting on board already. You can see Nikki Brammeier is with us to take us through the race action today. Everyone poised and ready. Look at the concentration. Lights go red and then we will be green. Away we go here in the round 7 of the DVV Trofee, the penultimate round. Annemarie Hoyers gets a good start. Sana Kant, Yara Castelline alongside her. Anna Kay does as well. Inge van der Heijden, Ellen van Looy, always a good starter on that inside right-hand turn there. Lots of riders dismounting through that section. Sana Kant deciding to run that one. Annemarie Hoyers just stays on the bike just a little bit longer than other riders. De Boer sprinting up on the inside. Blanca Catavas, the champion of Hungary. There you can see Rebecca Farringer, Beth Crumpton in the yellow, sprinting up the outside there. Anna Kay moving through to the front here for Experza as we go into this off camber section. Annemarie Hoyers dictating everything at the front. There's Ava Lechner moving up. Mount Captains. Looks like Manon Bakker staying on the bike for quite a while. It's a good start here at the front from Annemarie Hoyers.
Yeah, you can see why it's so important on this race to get a good start, because everybody is just getting stuck behind riders. His bike's going everywhere. You know, you're getting chain rings in the side of your head if you're in that back bunch. So you really need a good start in this race.
You do indeed. Annemarie Hoyers. Katie Compton just moves up just on the outside there. Laura Verdonschot getting in as Yara Castelline moves up. Inge van der Heijden, Loes Sells, Marion Norbert Riberola. De Boer's got a good start there as Karen Verheestraten moves up. Good day here. Anna Kay for Experza. Go right onto the wheel of Alvarado. Looking at Bar, we go into the carousel here, Nikki. Are they as a pro rider? Are they as fun to ride as they are to watch?
They are pretty fun to ride, especially if you're at the front. I think if you're at the back, it's a little bit more difficult. It's hard to pass people on this section, so you have to be quite patient. But yeah, this is a course that you really want to be at the front, on the front of the race, because people will make mistakes and then you can lose 1 or 2 bike lengths, and then it's really difficult to get back on then.
This cross here at Brussels University. So as we said, it was the first time we ran it last year when we were here. It was that rider in second place. It was Alvarado from Loes Sells, Laura Verdonschot, Katie Compton, Nikki Brammeier, who's alongside us today. She was up there in 5th. Alicia Maria Adzufi in 6th. Sana Kant in 7th. Mount Captains, Ellen van Looy and Katie Keogh was the top 10 as we just dropped down through this section and onto the road. A tight left-hander here after a couple of surface changes, Nikki, after that descent.
Yeah, at the bottom of there on that road section, it's super slick just because you get the mud coming off onto the tarmac, and I know quite a few riders slipped off there and got a bit of gravel rash last year, so everybody's a little bit cautious around those sections. But you can see here just how steep that off camber section is, and they're just having to run it all.
Little hand-sling off the post for quite a lot of riders. Katie Compton looking determined already, Katie Compton, as she sprints through these sections onto this off camber. Everyone was really out and testing out this section before. Sana Kant just drops down. You can see all the roots exposed here, Nikki. That makes it a lot slicker, doesn't it, when they start to get exposed like this?
This is such a steep section as well, and at the bottom here where the camera is just like a big tree as well, so you're trying to avoid that at the same time. But you can just see how kind of cautious everybody is down here, because it's so easy for your bike just to go straight underneath you, and you end up crashing and losing 5 or 10 seconds.
Alicia Maria Arzufi, let's have a look. It's Ava Lechner that was the Italian rider that went down there. Blanca Catavas escapes that on the rider there from Hungary. Sophie de Boer just shouting to the rider going down there. Eva Lechner back up to the front off the grass, little bunny hop down off the curb and back up onto the other side. You got a little trio here going clear. Ceylin Del Carmen Alvarado, Anna-Marie Hurst and Anna Kay. So 2 Dutch riders and the Brit that are just going clear, going left and right around that tree. Good to see Anna Kay up here already, Nikki.
This is definitely a race for Anna. It's technical, it's very fast. It's a race where if you're good at sitting on a wheel, which Anna is, then you can really maximise the other riders and use them to benefit your own race. And she's obviously got a really good start so far, so that's good to see.
Oh, Yara Castelline has had to go and back. Couple of riders there just going down through that section. Yara Castelline had to double back there. Just explain that, Nikki. When you're on the course and you're next to the pits, we saw Castelline have a bit of an issue. Had to just run back and run into the pits.
Yes, yeah, you can do that when you're in the pit zone. You know, you can turn around and go back in the pits. But when you are in there, you do have to change bikes. I'm not sure what problem she's got. Maybe it's a flat tyre. Oh.
Ooh,
got someone else down there as well. She won't be happy with that.
You can see Lara up there just remonstrating with Castelline as she goes in.
Yeah, when you're in that moment as well, you just have, race mist in your eyes and you're not really focused on anybody else. You're just wanting to get in that pit as soon as possible. So I'm sure she didn't mean that, but yeah, Yara won't be happy with that.
Yeah, unavoidable there. Yeah, Lara Donshot just coming through that section. We were getting that long shot. We saw the riders going down, and Castelline determined to get into the pits, get that bike change. There's Norbert Riverola, Blanca Catavas right behind her, and Inga van der Heijden wearing 9 low sails. Then Yara Castelline just trying to come back up here. Sophie de Boer just starting the year back into cyclocross. She's had a tough few years, Sophie de Boer. It's great to see her back in here.
She has, yeah. I mean, she was another outstanding Dutch rider a few years ago, won the World Cup. She had a lot of victories, and then, yeah, the last couple of years she's suffered a bit from overtraining and not really managed to kind of find that form that she had a couple of years ago. So she took quite a bit of time out from racing. She still keeps trying, and hopefully we'll see her back up there one day. But yeah, it's good to see her back on the start line today.
It is indeed. If you're just joining us, welcome aboard round 7 of the DVV Vervecken Trofee. I should give it its full name. I hope I do say that right, here at Brussels University. And your leader overall, the general classification is these 2 riders, Ceylin Alvarado. 4 hours, 18 minutes and 31 seconds of racing so far. 2 minute and 6 second advantage over Anna-Marie Hurst behind her. Yara Castelline in third at 5:11 as we go on to this section. Is Anna Kay going to ride this one? Just comes to a little bit of a halt on the foot of that barrier. We got that Toyo Tyres competition as well, that fast start. Ceylin Alvarado leading that with 13 points ahead of Anna-Marie Hurst, who has 10, and Yara Castelline third in that as Alvarado goes down, and that gives Anna-Marie Hurst the lead. Alvarado just that front wheel just dug in there. We'll see if they give us a replay of that. But that's handed Anna-Marie Hurst the lead here.
Yeah, it's so slippy on this section. It's really hard to get traction and be able to keep pedaling up those bits. So it's definitely better to get off the bike and run and keep that momentum, keep that speed. But yeah, you can see all the riders are running it pretty much.
So the camera just pans to the right here. Alvarado goes down there, just loses that as she goes down. And that's that shot there of Anna-Marie Hurst has run that complete section. And it shows as a cross rider as well, that running ability, attacking on the run. You can see how much she was just sprinting through that section just to try and get a few fractions of a second, so attacking on foot.
Running is so important to be a cross rider. You don't just have to be a cyclist. It's almost like you have to be an athlete, and you have to kind of practice that in your summer training and just through the whole season. And obviously some people are more natural runners than others, and you really have to work on that because, yeah, in cross, those runs can, add up to 50 seconds at the end of a race if you've got 10 seconds lap on them.
So going through there, 8 minutes and 24 seconds is your time gap. So Hurst, it's 3 seconds to Alvarado. Then Anna Kay going through at 10 seconds. It's Anna, then Sarnakant having a good start here. Good first lap here. Sarnakant at 13 seconds. So Anna Kay pressing on. Katie Compton going through next. Let's put the clock on her. 22 for Katie Compton. On to lap 2, it's Van Looy with Norbert Riberola going through, Yara Castelline, Blanca Catavas, Inga van der Heijden and Ava Lechner. So your top 10. So Blanca Catavas there in 9th at 36 seconds. Lechner is 11th at 38. On to lap 2. Don't forget, here on our live broadcast, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Great battle between these two riders here from 777 and Phoenix Alpecin. Having a good day in third is the British rider Anna Kay. A great job here for Experza. The under-23 worlds, looking at Alvarado and Anna Kay. They had a good battle last year. That's going to be a good race, I think.
Yeah, it will be. I'm interested to see what the course is going to be like there. I think it's meant to be quite fast, but it can be snowing at that time of year, so should be interesting. And not long now, only 4 weeks to Worlds or something. So we'll see if Ceylin can carry on her form up until then.
It's going to be interesting to see that. Anna-Marie Huerst, Ceylin Del Carmen, Alvarado. Thanks all of you for checking in today. Sean Mooney saying hi. Thanks for checking in. Vince Nickel from York. George Berger from North Carolina. Peter Cahill from Toronto in Canada. Sean Downey from Baltimore. Thanks for saying hi. Thierry Bonnet from Brooklyn is checking in as well. Yotam Tavor, thanks also for saying hi, all of you over on our YouTube forum. JB Hancock checking in over on Facebook, and Gandru from the Philippines, thanks for staying hi. Scott Larson, regular viewer there. Darren Howitt also checking in and saying hi. Kevin M is in the kitchen. Your chasing group, Yara Castelline, as we go into the carousel, as Anna-Marie Huerst and Ceylin Alvarado exit that section. Anna Kay and Sana Kant are in there. Katie Compton is the rider sitting there in 5th place. I love Katie Compton's new kit. I like it's a map of her the hills and mountains in her hometown, I think, is the Katie Compton's kit. It's really cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah, something different, isn't it? It's good to have a bit of a different kit out there. But yeah, you can see on this course, actually, it's a course where it doesn't really flow that well. Some courses really flow and you can get into them really easy. I remember last year, I think it took me maybe 3 or 4 laps to actually feel comfortable with it, because there's so many different sections coming up. You always have to be thinking ahead and it doesn't flow that well.
Sana Kant just chasing down Anna Kay through. There's an awful lot of changes of, you're on this one, you're on and off the bike constantly. It's a difficult course to be able to, to ride. You come into some courses and you can, Yara Castelline going down on the inside there. Yara Castelline as having a bit of an issue. Yara, really emotional rider. Doesn't deal with a lot of the issues that she has in racing too well at the moment.
No, and that's something that maybe she'll go and work on, because as a cross rider, you need to be able to adapt so quickly to all these different things. She's knocked a fair few riders off there again. She's done that a couple of times today, hasn't she?
It's just one of those, again, as we see our two leaders just bunny hopping on and off that section. Some days the chips don't fall for you, do they? The luck just doesn't go your way.
It doesn't, and actually with women's cycling, something that's never really talked about is how much of an effect the menstrual cycle has on women's performances, and different hormones through the month affect how people race, and it's something that you don't see in men's racing, but actually women's racing, it counts for quite a lot. So yeah, different phases of the month can mean riders are a bit more switched on and a bit faster than other times in the month.
There's
it's women's physiology.
Yeah, Lara Verdonshot just looks like she's called it a day today. That crash involving Yara Castelline went back in to the pits. That's a shame. Lara as a rider, last few races as well, looks again just after some issues that she's had over the last couple of seasons, was coming back into some good form. But some days like this, if it's not happening for you, so much coming up, isn't there? You've just got to save the legs for another day.
Yeah, it is really hard to stop in a race and to pull out. You never want to do that, but yeah, maybe she's just, you don't know what's going on. She might have a problem with her back or something, and she wants to be fresh for nationals next week.
Our two leaders, Alvarado and Worst, what a lot of battles that they've had between them this season. For Ceylin Alvarado behind, you saw very much in Bale thinking, I am not taking Anna-Marie Worst to the finish, and potentially sprinting it out here. Worst definitely over the line, is probably potentially the strongest sprinter in the group at the moment. We just see Martha Troyan going down on that section. The Telenet Bauer's Alliance rider. Worst, super clever, former world under 23 champion. For me, I think she's got to be the favourite for the worlds.
Yeah, she is for sure, and she's good on any course really. You know, like you say, she's got that sprint at the end of the race. She's able to suffer. She's able to dig really deep, and yeah, when she's having an amazing day, it's going to be hard to stop her from winning anything, really.
There's the long shot of Katie Compton. You see the American rider. It's unusual seeing her out of that US National Champions jersey. Clara Honsinger, of course, taking that championship back to our two leaders. Comfortably in the lead now for the 777 and Alpecin Phoenix rider, the new kit now for this team. Back to our chasing group. Ava Lechner leading, Blanca Catavas, Mandarin Norbert Riberola, Yara Castelline and Manon Bakker, Ellen Van Looyen, Inga van der Heijden coming around the corner. This group's still very much together. There's Lowe Sells is in there. Good battle between Anna Kay and Sana Kant today. Anna choosing to run the planks today, has made great strides in the last this season, really. Bunny hopping those. It's quite a fast approach to it, isn't it?
Yeah, she's definitely leading the way in that area. She's very good technically, and you know, getting on and off the bike, and yeah, she's jumping pretty much all the planks in most of these races. I'm not sure why she's not jumping them today. Maybe just can't quite get the speed afterwards, or maybe it's just, yeah, I don't know.
Back down here, you can picture, it looked like Alvarado had a little dig there. It's probably excuse my reaction there. You could just picture all the students out there in the middle of summer enjoying that one. And Erwin Vervecken's done a great job, as he always does, in designing this Brussels course. The second time that we've been here. Your leaders on the right, your chasers are on the left. Katie Compton is not far away from making contact with that group. This duo, go back here, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Sophie de Boer, Karen Verheestra and Mout Captains. You've got Alicia Frank and Kim van der Steener. That is your next group. So the Park Hotel Valkenburg rider in that pink jersey with the green and black chevrons. Just Annette Morkeberg just checking in from Denmark. Thanks for saying hi. Vasilis Sortsinis checking in from Athens in Greece. Thanks all of you for saying hi. John Lux from Cornwall. I always like to put a little pin in the map. Let us know where you're all watching from today. And a lot of you finding this course really interesting, as it is. Nikki Brammeier is with me, and the rider, she was up there in this race last year, and has many times finished well up there overall at the end of the season in the DVV Trofee overall. Anna-Marie Worst and Ceylin Alvarado go through there at the end of lap 7:16. This finish, it's again for a sprint. Alvarado's not going to want to take this one to the line, I would say, today, looking at the length of that finishing straight.
She isn't. I think it's going to be a race really of mind games and just kind of watching each other's weaknesses and where they can make them move. And for sure, I'm sure Anna-Marie isn't really too bothered about getting to the finish line with Ceylin, but Ceylin will be quite aware that she needs to kind of drop her before the finish, which is going to be quite difficult to do on this course because it's so fast.
Annick van Alphen into the planks. Ooh, Annick van Alphen, you see the fast approach there into those. She's the rider that over the last couple of seasons been leading the way, the BNS rider, in terms of bunny hopping those planks.
Yeah, a lot of the young Dutch riders now, you know, they train at a place called Alphen every single week on a Wednesday. And they're kind of, they've maybe got 20 girls going there, and they've kind of train with the elite men as well, and they kind of watch each other, and they're learning a lot of skills from a very young age, and it just becomes normal to them now.
So going through there, Van der Heijden rounds out your top 10, so you can see 118. Let's run you through your two leaders, Outburst and Alvarado. Chasing group, Sana Khan and Anna Kay are not far away. Then Katie Compton comes in next. She's not far from that chasing group. I would say Katie Compton could make contact, make a battle for that third spot on the podium. Ava Lechner, Yara Kastlein, Marion Norbert Rieberola, Blanca Catavas and Inga van der Heijden are your top 10 overall. Justin Evans asking about Rebecca Farringer and Clara Hontiget. We only get, unfortunately, what you see. They only send us the pictures of what we got. Sometimes the director will go back and show everyone. Unfortunately, DVV, unlike World Cups and that kind of thing, we don't have the live timing that we sometimes get. So apologies. When we see them, we will see them. Keep an eye on the other side. Yara Kastelein sprinting through that section. Ava Lechner staying on the bike through there. Riders just grabbing a handful of the banners at the side. Blanca Catavas nicely through there for the national champion of Hungary. Anna Kay has managed to distance Sana Kant in second place behind. Anna, the nationals next week's got to be favourite for the elite women's race. She had a bit of a battle with yourself last year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a super fast, really fast race last year, and we were together most of the race, and I managed to get away towards the end. But I could see then, she's a rider for the future, and again, she's really moved up another level this year, and she's been, having some podiums, and hopefully we'll see her taking some more wins the next couple of years. It's again just being at the front of these races, learning how to win, watching how the other riders race, and fair play to her. She's been out here for 2 seasons now, and it's obviously paying off.
Just saw Katie Compton remounting there. We'll have a little replay through that section. And I think Anna's almost, I don't know if you would agree, Nikki, but for me, Anna's almost in the position that Ceylin was in last year, where she's there and thereabouts, pulling in some amazing performances at World Cups. She's podiuming constantly as Ceylin was. And we were saying earlier in terms of that breakthrough victory, and we talk about that at elite, just building that confidence, giving yourself that boost to know that you can beat the best in the world. So for me, she almost seems like she's in that position Ceylin was in a year ago.
She is definitely, and it's again learning and progressing every year, and you've got to you almost have to wait for your body to kind of be ready to kind of move up that level as well, because year on year you just get stronger as a rider, and she will have learned a lot this year, and I'm sure she'll go away after the season, reflect and kind of look at what she needs to work on, and hopefully over the summer she'll put that into action, and we'll see again her as another rider again next year and stepped up another level.
In looking at riders in terms of Sana Kant, in the position that she's in, she's still, relatively in her early 30s for Sana Kant. But what would you, in terms of looking at the rider here that's chasing down Anna Kay, what do you think Sana Kant has to do to try and get back to that rider that we're sort of used to her being, those consistent victories? Or do you think now the strength of talent is just too big compared to Ceylin and Anna Marie?
I think in one way, yeah, there is a lot of talent, but at the same time, Sana's kind of been at the top for maybe 4 or 5 years now, winning races. She's been world champion multiple times, and she knows how she has to do to win. And I think she has a new coach now, and maybe she changed some of the things that she's done this summer, and it hasn't quite worked for her this time, and maybe she'll kind of go back to what she's always done before this coming summer, and we'll see her again at the front of races next year. But it's difficult to do the same thing every year in, year out, and be up at that level year in, year out. You have to kind of back off at some point, or you'll see a bit of a dip at some point. It's just natural to do that.
Anna Kay out of that corner, and you saw Sana Kant from Eco Creelan chasing down the British rider. Katie Compton has sat at this position just off the back of those two riders for first couple of laps. Alvarado comes through to the front. You just saw Anna Marie Huers just fighting with the bike. That sort of long shot there, Nikki, of Anna Maria. She kind of wrestled the bike up to the top to keep traction and keep forward motion. It shows how important, in a way, core stability is in this position.
It definitely does, and all these girls are pretty much doing that the whole summer, and even through the winter as well. They'll be doing 1 or 2 course sessions a week, and especially on these off-camber sections where you need to kind of put your body in the right position to keep balance and keep upright. It's really important. But there's a lot of off-camber sections on this course, and the camera angle really doesn't do it justice because it's a lot steeper when you're riding it. You can see there maybe how steep it is, where Sana is and where Anna is.
You just saw the back wheels there sliding out of Anna Kay. She put the power down. We saw Pauline Ferrand-Prévot controlling that slide down through that bank, just hit the padding at the bottom of that and just flipped over the top. Long shot here of Katie Compton through this off-camber section, and you can see the eyes, the focus, the laser focus of a top pro cross rider through those different sections. Thanks for getting on board. If you're just tuning in, this is the DVV Trophy, round 7 from Brussels University, as Ava Lechner and Yara Castelline, the Italian and European champions respectively, just start this off-camber section. The DVV Trophy overall, Alvarado leading Hurst. The last round we had in Basel, it was Alvarado from Brand. Annemarie Hurst, the rider in red here, was 3rd in that one. Yara Castelline, Ava Lechner, Katie Compton, Blanca Catavas, Ellen Van Looy, Sana Kant, and Lara Verdonschot was the top 10, 2:52 separating them. You can see 57 seconds, the clock just above this one. Onto this great descent here on Brussels University. Annemarie Hurst just dismounts as they run up the second section. And Erwin has done a great job again with this course. He's always just tweaking things, isn't he, Erwin, with a course? He finds a great course, designs a great course, and he'll come back the next year and go, oh, actually, I've got a good idea.
He does, yeah. Definitely the courses are ever evolving with Erwin, and even last year you can see there was some stairs there. We actually ran up the steps last year. We didn't have 2 of the pump tracks, but now he's put 2 in, so he's made it a little bit more difficult. I can remember last year as well, a lot of this mud is the mud that really gets stuck in the bottom of your shoes, so you can see a lot of riders kind of having trouble clipping back in the pedals after they've got off running, and you know, some riders that get agitated by things like that can end up losing a couple of seconds just with that happening. You have to kind of keep your focus and keep pedaling even though you're not clipped in, getting back on the bike.
And there's a good variation of technique watching here on that section. Sana Kant shouldering the bike, Anna Kay pushing the bike up through that section.
Yeah, those 2, and also these 2 at the front as well, Anna-Marie and Ceylin. They're both doing different styles. I think Ceylin's running with the bike a lot more, pushing it, and Anna-Marie's putting it on her shoulder. It's again just what you're comfortable with, and just you want to get your power out on up those sections.
5, Ceylin, Alvarado, and Annemarie Hurst. They go through 26 minutes and 16 seconds for these 2 riders. Really have worked hard together this season, spent a lot of time in each other's company at the front of the race. Lap 3 of 5. I think Alvarado, as we go back to Sana Kant and Anna Kay, Alvarado's got to try something soon in terms of trying to shake off Annemarie Hurst.
She has, and maybe she'll do something like get to the front of the race and maybe, you know, push hard on one of the technical sections and almost force Anna-Marie to make some kind of mistake, because I think that's the only way she's going to be able to get rid of her.
And this battle for 3rd spot as they go through this time at 43 seconds to Kay and Sana Kant, and then Katie Compton not far off the back of this one. You can see now is at 55 to Katie Compton. And sometimes when you look at Nikki in terms of the gap between Compton and then Sana Kant and Anna Kay, you'd look at that and you'd think that's closable. That's closable really quickly, isn't it? But in cross terms, with so much on and off the bike, so many off-camber sections, so many running sections today, it's easier said than done sometimes, closing a 4-second gap.
It definitely is. I mean, it doesn't seem anything, like you say, you know, Kate, you'll be able to see those 2 riders just ahead. But yeah, you really need to have an acceleration and be able to stamp on the pedals a little bit more and get that speed up on those riders. You can't just expect us to ride on the back of them.
So Vanderpool Blanca Catavas just going through next. You can see the focus here of Anna Marie Huerst, Celine Alvarado, the dark glasses on behind as Alice Maria Azufi is up to 12th at 1:49. Inga van der Heijden we saw just coming around that corner. Anna Marie Huerst just attacking at the front. It seems sometimes a lot of riders went to Otterham yesterday and raced that one. Alvarado won that, and it looked like she had a fairly, what we would call, not an easy win, because she said you still got to be out, you still got to be turning the pedals, you still got to be out there, but there might be a little bit of fatigue creeping into the legs today.
There is, and even just after Poel, you know, they've only had 2 days off the bike. Well, not off the bike, they still will have been riding, but just 2 days off racing. They'll still all have quite a bit of fatigue in the legs, and they'll be hoping to shake that off this weekend before Nationals.
You saw there, as Nikki was talking about, Anna Kay just trying to bang the mud out of the bottom of the shoes. This long shot to Katie Compton, these two, Ava Lechner and Yara Castelline, who looks like she's recovered her focus just a touch after those early issues for her. And these two riders, how are they going to outwit each other? We've got 5 laps in total. Into lap 4, dropping off that little off-camber section. The way they've got the camera there, again, it doesn't quite show the way you're sort of changing. There's a bit of a drop down. There's a bit of a drop off there, isn't there? Where we've seen issues so far having some problems.
Yeah, there is, and it drops from mud onto concrete, and then obviously the concrete's getting really slippy, which is why you're seeing quite a few riders just wipe out there. You know, they'll probably have their front tyres quite low pressure, just so they're getting grip on the corners, and maybe just on those 1 or 2 corners where it's onto the concrete, it's just a little bit too low when they're just wiping out on those sections.
So we are on lap 4 of 5. Can Alvarado get away from Anna Marie Huerst? He's the 777 rider on the front, controlling down through that section. Just see the controlled slide there. There can be no mistakes at all between these 2 riders, as Huerst just goes for the high ground there. Alvarado picks that low line as Huerst just opens up just a little couple of meters of advantage through that section. Little dab there for Alvarado, loses the foot as she doesn't manage to get it back in. Anna Kay again just distancing Sana Kant just a touch through this section for the Expersa rider, the young Brit. Just slinging that bike round through that section, grabbing onto the brake levers as Huerst now makes her move. Alvarado's got to fight back. When she gets that little gap, Anna Marie Huerst doesn't need a second invitation. A little drop off the pavement as Celine Alvarado fights to get back in. And it was so minute mistakes here, Nikki.
It's definitely minute, but at the same time, Anna Marie would have been aware that something would have happened to Celine then, because it's almost like the people at the side of the course will make a bit of a gasp, or they'll do something and then you're barely aware of that, and she will have known something's happened. I need to go hard. I need to make more pressure. I need to put the pressure on her, and that's obviously what she's doing.
Can Alvarado get back? Look at the focus now. The rider that was the first rider to win here at Brussels University, Alvarado, as Huerst just drops off that section, keeping the pressure, keeping the speed here. Alvarado just digs in that shoulder on that section. Must be a special feeling, Nikki, when you're the first ever rider to win a race that looks like it could become a real sort of solid member of the calendar.
It is, for sure, and I remember at Ronza actually a few years ago, it was kind of the first year that they had the women's race there, and I won that, and it was a special feeling, and it kind of just, it's a special moment when you can win a race and you go back there the next year with full of confidence and knowing that you'll be pretty good on that course and able to race at the front.
A little dab of the foot out of that section for Huerst. Alvarado manages to get back on. We'll expect her, if she gets up here, to try and go straight past Anna Marie Huerst if she can find an opportunity to attack. Pound for pound in a sprint, Anna Marie Huerst definitely has the advantage over Alvarado as she gets back in here. So the Alpecin Fenix rider, you can see still on the Canyon bikes for Alpecin Fenix, change of colours from Corenden Circus, 777, still in the red, still on those Stevens bikes this year. Back to Anna Kay, so Experza started this season still on those specialised S-Work bikes. I don't think you'd ever see, I think if any team tried to get Sana Khan off a Stevens bike, I think there would probably be a few toys out the pram. I don't think that's a bike that she's ridden her whole career, really, isn't it?
I think so, and just mentally, you know, when you've won races on a bike, you kind of just always associate the bike with that race and that you've had good luck on it, and you forget all the bad moments and it just stays, yeah, that's your favourite bike. I was the same with mine. So yeah, she would never want to change, I'm sure.
This is a great battle as well between these two riders. It's swinging backwards and forwards on the different sections as the world champion now distances the Brit just a touch here. But Anna Kay, so far in this race, has managed to find her way back to Sana Khan. She's got to do the same again if she wants that podium position. Back to your chasing group. Eva Lechner just exits that corner. Castelline already got the foot out, just dabs on that one. And you can see the back wheel there of Eva Lechner as she just controls that sort of two-wheel drift. Is Anna Kay going to jump? She isn't. She's running these planks today. We saw Annick van Alphen going down. When Alvarado slides out there, again the crowd would gasp. Quick recovery there from Alvarado.
Yeah, I think you can definitely tell there's a bit of tiredness from Alvarado, just making one or two mistakes, and you can just see Anna Marie's kind of in a full swing. She's kind of in her little zone, and kind of Ceylin's really fighting just to stay with her, and that's why she's maybe making these mistakes. Definitely under pressure, I think.
Can she add to these wins? The winner in Diegem as Sana Khan and Anna Kay into that little trench section, that little, almost like an old river that they were going through that section. Alvarado, quick recovery, straight back on to Anna-Marie Huers. What a season the 777 rider is having. Second at the Barron Cross in Molenbeek. If you've been with us so far this season, Alvarado looking to just bide her time here, recover from those small errors and maybe make that race-winning move. The rider on the front though, first in Kruijbeke, first in Bern, first in Beringen. She was on the podiums in Koppenberg in the Europeans, winner in Tabor, winner in Hammer. She then went podiumed in Kortrijk, won in Zonhoven, second at the GP Maria de Klerk in Ronse, on to Overijse. She won their podiums, third in Namur, Zolder and in Lernhout, and first in Diegem. Not been off the podium this season pretty much, with one lap to go.
Yeah, she's super consistent this season. I think for Ceylin to make any moves, she's going to have to get in front of Anna-Marie on these technical sections and not let Anna-Marie kind of take her own line. Ceylin's got to really take control in the technical areas over this next lap if she wants to win it.
Where would you, in your mind, if you're Ceylin now, where would you be thinking so far in this race, looking where Anna-Marie's technical prowess really lies? Where would you be looking to try and attack her?
I'd attack her before when Ceylin made a mistake and Anna-Marie got away just before on the lap before. I'd maybe think about getting in front of her just before there, so before the off-camber sections.
Okay, let's see it, because normally when someone like Nikki says that, that's exactly what happens. We find the same with Jeremy.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, if I had it in the back of my head that I'd kind of messed up a little bit there last lap, then I'd almost give myself room if I did make that manoeuvre again for Anna-Marie to make sure she's behind me and not in front of me.
Back to the front. Anna-Marie Huers, Ceylin Alvarado, 55 to 53 rather, and then a 104 back to Katie Compton. Alvarado, the rider in second wheel, back through her season. 3 wins in we had in the Barron Cross in Molenbeek. She won the GP Pouch, she won in Dordrecht, she won in Heaton, she won in Rudevorde, the European Under-23 title. She won the Coxsider World Cup. She went to the GP Maria de Klerk and won in Ronse. She won in Lernhout, second in Diegem, second in Zolder, second in Namur, second in Zonhoven, second in Kortrijk, second in Tabor, second in Bern. So many podiums as well for the rider at the front. They really have been the riders of the season so far. Now through to the front, as Nikki said, she want to lead through those sections where she made some mistakes the previous lap. So Lechner, Bakker, Norbert Rieberola, Kata Vass is your top 10, and then Ellen van Looy just outside that top 10. Ellen's having a better race consistently consistently through the race today than we've seen so far. She had some good starts early on in the season, but just looked like she was fading as the races were going on.
Yeah, this is more a course for Ellen. It's quite fast. It's not too muddy. You know, she's a strong rider. She's fast. She's got a lot of speed. So she'll be able to sit in the wheels a little bit and recover probably early on and able to make a bit of an effort towards the end. You know, she's a strong rider still.
Anna Kay on the front and Sana Kant behind. Katie Compton was just 10 seconds behind. And can she get back up? The gap was 10 seconds. The battle between Anna Kay and Sana Kant for that next spot on the podium. Yara Castelline running this section, just grabs a handful of rope at the side. Alvarado has got the front. She wants to dictate this race to Anna-Marie Hurst behind. Drops down off this steep bank down onto the road. Who is going to take this one? It's a great battle. Nikki, out of these two, who's your money on?
I'd say Anna-Marie today. I think Ceylin just looks a little bit tired.
Out of that section, Hurst makes a move and comes through to the front, dismounts, so swinging backwards and forwards. You can see Alvarado will now try and find her way back up towards the front of this one. Hurst did the right thing through that section. She knows you could say exactly what Ceylin is thinking here in terms of trying to get through towards the front.
Yeah, and sometimes the more pressure that you put on yourself to be in front on those sections, the harder it is. But yeah, you can see Anna-Marie is on the front here. So you might see Ceylin make another mistake again.
This is the section. Anna-Marie Hurst gets to the top of that one. Alvarado manages to ride it this time. Anna Kay has attacked Sana Kant behind. Anna Kay is forcing the world champion now to chase. This is a great battle for third as well.
It's really great, and I think Sana's super clever. Like, even when she doesn't feel her best, she's always able to come back in those last couple of laps, and that's what she's done today. But Anna's keeping the pressure on there as she should be. She's obviously feeling good. This is a race for her, a course for her. So yeah, that's a good little battle going on there.
You'd say out of these two, Anna-Marie, out of the two, is the faster sprinter. Can Alvarado make a move? Sana Kant has got back up to Anna Kay at the front. The world champion drops down to the bottom there, just controls that slide on that steep off-camber section. Here's your fight for the victory. Will it be 777? Will it be Alpecin Fenix? Anna Kay has still got a bit of an advantage over the world champion behind. This is a great battle for the third spot. Will it be the British rider? Will it be the Belgian? You've got two Dutch riders at the head of the race, and it's Anna-Marie Hurst that's leading out Ceylin Alvarado as they drop down through that faster section. Alvarado really knows she's in a fight here. She needs to try and get past Anna-Marie Hurst, or maybe she fancies now a bit of a sprint here.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Anna-Marie is obviously on an absolute limit, and so is Ceylin trying to stay there. So, you know, we might see that sprint at the end of the race.
Out through this section, Alvarado locked in on the wheel of Anna-Marie. So if you haven't seen Jeremy's feature, A Day Out with Anna-Marie Hurst, as Alvarado drops down the bottom, now she's going to pounce. Anna-Marie Hurst at the top. Alvarado chose the lower line through that section, accelerating on the back, and Anna-Marie Hurst fights to try and get back in. Nikki, just again, smallest minute errors, choice of line there. Alvarado pounces.
Yeah, and all you need is one or two bike lengths to win a bike race. Do you know what I mean? It's yeah, she's obviously known that she's made that mistake, and she's gone all in and made a move.
Blanka Katavas here, the national champion of Hungary, has just lost the chain there. Alicia Maria Arzufi. Let's have a little replay of that, and you just hits that exposed route there and goes straight down. You can see the roots just get more and more exposed as they go on. Yeah,
and I think tyre pressure looks pretty hard. It doesn't look that soft, and maybe that's why she's gone down there as well. She can't really get the grip that she needs.
And that, as a young rider, 18 years old, that will just come with time. Hurst and Alvarado, this is the battle for first place. Will it be Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado? Will it be Anna-Marie Hurst onto this off-camber section? And the world champions got the front as Anna Kay revving behind Sana Kant to try and get back up to her. As this has been a great fight. Katie Compton behind, kicks it through that. Back to the front. Alvarado's got the front over Anna-Marie Hurst. Who's going to take this one? as they drop down into the bank. Great camera shot there of that little section onto the run-up. Alvarado on the front, little stumble there as the same Anna Marie does behind. You can see the fatigue almost just visible creeping in to the legs of the riders. This is where Alvarado had an issue earlier on.
Yeah, and you really have to attack these running sections. Oh, I've just made a mistake. Oh,
Wurst goes down on exactly the same place as Alvarado did earlier on in the race. Wurst goes down, and Alvarado will glance across now and see that she's got the lead. Sprints down through that section. A little slight error on this final lap there from Anna Marie Wurst, who has nailed that section every single time. And Alvarado pounces a big off there, but Anna Marie Wurst loses the seconds. Just take us through this one.
Again, it's just, she's just gone slightly over the top of the bar set. Yeah, it's again at the end of the race, you're super tired, you're trying to not make mistakes, and you end up making mistakes just because you're a little bit more on edge, and obviously you're fighting for that win, and you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose any time, and those mistakes are really easy to make.
Just looked like that front wheel just dug in on that section up to the front.
Oh, that's unfortunate for her, but for Ceylin, she'd obviously saw that and just absolutely gone for it, which is, yeah, I don't blame her. She wants to win.
Anna Marie Wurst kicks it out of this corner now. She tries to limit her losses to Alvarado, but here she comes. The winner in Otterdam yesterday continues that phenomenal season. 2 years, 2 victories here in Brussels. It was a breakthrough victory a year ago for Ceylin del Carmen. Alvarado, she takes that little tumble on that final lap there by Anna Marie Wurst. Just hands that win there, and there's the advantage at the finish. 8 seconds from Alvarado to Anna Marie Wurst. Now we'll look back for the battle for 3rd spot. Has Anna Kay managed to get back up to Sana Kant? Sana Kant just takes a glance back over the shoulder. Looks like now she's got the advantage over the British rider for 3rd place behind. Here's Anna gritting her teeth now. She powers on, but Sana Kant trying to get back up there. Last year she was 7th in this race. Now looking like a solid podium today for Sana Kant. She, again, Nikki, next week. Belgian Championships. It's been a while since anyone else won the Belgian Nationals.
It has, yeah. And I mean, I think Sana is one of the best Belgians at the moment still, so I think she'll still get that jersey. But you can see here that Sana's had years of experience of how to win races. So, you know, she's obviously used her head today, and she's been able to, you know, beat Anna that way in the end. But Anna's had a great race there.
She has indeed. 1 minute and 11 back to Sana Kant. Anna Kay for the British rider crosses the line there in good form for next week's national championships. The Expersa rider Anna Kay looking for Sana Kant looking for Anna Kay, and a sporting handshake. That means a lot, I think, as well. Anna Kay loves a big battle, so does Sana Kant. Katie Compton crosses the line there at 1:34 for the American. That would mean a lot to Anna Kay, wouldn't it? The world champion sitting wanting a handshake for the fight and the battle.
It would. I'm sure Anna's sat and watched races of Sana winning the last few years. You know, Anna is such a young rider still, and she's probably one of her heroes. So, yeah, I'm sure that meant a lot.
Manon Bakker just rounds that corner. It looks like she's had a real consistent day today, the Expersa rider. Behind her, Marion Norbert Riberola and Yara Castelline. Manon clearly has just gradually that technique, good power that Manon Bakker has. She's going to come in for a 6th place today. That's a good finish for Manon Bakker. I'm sure she'll be satisfied with that one. 2 minutes and 20. Riberola, the French rider, comes in next for 7th. Yara Castelline, I'm sure she'll be quite relieved to put that one behind her. 2 minutes and 33 for the European champion. Lechner crossing the line there in 9th, and Ellen Van Looy takes a 10th place today. So that's your top 10 crossing the line. And here's Alice Maria Arzufi just coming in towards the finish. Alice looks like as the season's going on, it's the starts again that Alice Maria Arzufi needs to kind of work on a little bit for next season.
It is, yeah. That's always an area that she struggled on, and I think she does quite a bit of road in the summer as well, and maybe she carries a lot of her form from the road into the cross early season, and then she kind of tapers off a little bit towards the end of the season. So maybe that's something for her to think about the next couple of years.
Ja, inderdaad. Ik had een mooie strijd met Annemarie. We waren beide vandaag best wel aan elkaar gewaagd tot in de laatste meters eigenlijk. Maar aan het einde had ik wel het geluk dat Annemarie een foutje maakte blijkbaar. Ik had zelf niks door, maar op een gegeven moment zag ik dat er een gat was. En als dat niet was gebeurd, dan was het een hele interessante sprint geweest, denk ik.
Je hebt dat sprintwapen, want anders zou de tegenstand natuurlijk niet op die manier tactisch rijden.
Ja, inderdaad. Ik had wel vertrouwen in mijn sprint. Ik moet zeggen dat de vermoeidheid van gisteren er wel in zat. Ik maakte ook heel erg veel fouten onderweg. Dat ben ik eigenlijk niet gewend. Maar ik denk dat daardoor ook wel het voor mij ook wel een lastige wedstrijd was.
Ideaal nu met die dubbel op zak richting Nederlands kampioenschap. Ontpop je nu nog meer tot topfavoriet of mogen we dat gezien de afwezigheden van de dag niet zeggen?
Ja, ik weet wel dat ik één van de topfavorieten ben. Ik ben niet de enige. Meiden als Annemarie, Jara, Brandt en Vos, die zijn natuurlijk ook topfavoriet, vind ik zelf toch. We zijn allemaal aan elkaar gewaagd, dus dat zou ook een spannende strijd zijn.
In de trofee maak je je voorsprong wat groter. Het is nog niet binnen, maar het is heel comfortabel om naar Lille te gaan natuurlijk.
Ja, zeker. Nog één wedstrijd te gaan en ik zit 2 minuten voor. Dus dat is wel geruststelling in tot aan de laatste wedstrijd toe.
Dankjewel Ceylin, Alvarado. Veel succes op het Nederlands kampioenschap. Dan gaan we naar de nummer 2. Annemarie Worst, 2 cruciale fouten in de slotronde. Nochtans was je eigenlijk heel goed bezig.
Ja, het ging eigenlijk weer goed. En eigenlijk het laatste rondje ging die laatste, die hobbels naar beneden zeg maar. En ik dacht dat mijn klik zat, maakte het niet meer klikken. En toen ging ik hem eruit en toen was het eigenlijk een beetje weg.
En dan die tweede val, daar ging je uit je klikpedaal en heb je bezit daarbij, want dat zag er eigenlijk een beetje vies uit.
Ja, nou ja, het ging eigenlijk goed met mijn rug en ik ben op mijn rug gevallen. Maar weet je, ik ben blij dat mijn wedstrijd weer goed ging en dat eigenlijk mijn rug deze keer gehouden heeft. En dat is al een overwinning voor mij eigenlijk. Daar ben ik wel blij mee.
Zijn dat fouten die je maakt omdat je op de limiet rijdt?
Nou, het ging nog wel lekker eigenlijk. Ik kon nog wel best wel eigenlijk door, maar ik had gewoon het gevoel dat ik ingeklikt zat. En dat was niet zo. Toen, en ik was dan naar beneden aan het rijden en ik kon ook niet meer echt herstellen. En toen ging ik eruit.
Onthoud jij het goede van vandaag in het vooruitzicht van Rukven, dat je Ceylin onder druk kon zetten?
Ja, zeker. Ik reed eindelijk weer lekker. Het is de afgelopen weken lang niet zo geweest, dus ik ben heel blij met vandaag. Ja.
Dankjewel en felicitaties met de runner-up positie Annemarie Worst. En dan gaan we naar de derde van de dag, de wereldkampioenen. Een fijn duel met Anna Kay, Sanne Kant en dan een mooie podiumplaats. Hoe voel je je er zelf bij?
Er zat sowieso niet meer in vandaag denk ik, dus ik ben blij met deze podiumplek.
Is dit een opsteker die je nodig hebt in het vooruitzicht van Antwerpen?
Niet per se van Antwerpen, maar we zijn met een plan bezig en het lijkt stil aan te werken. Dus het zijn goede vooruitzichten denk ik.
Is dat een plan dat eindigt op een vliegveld ergens in Zwitserland, 2K?
Zou zo eens kunnen, ja.
Dus wat is jouw conclusie na de eindejaarsperiode? Een aaneenschakeling van wedstrijden en met welke vorm kom je er dan uit?
Als ik vandaag bezie, kom ik denk ik met een betere vormmaat dan dat ik erin gegaan ben. Dus ik zeg het ziet er allemaal redelijk beter en beter uit. Dus ik heb er wel goede hoop in.
Het zand van Sint-Anneke in Antwerpen op linkeroever, het ponton, er wordt gezegd parcours voor Sanne Kant.
Ja, maar het zand is weg, dus ik ben er nu per toeval van de week geweest en ik heb een toer een stuk gewandeld en ik vind eerlijk gezegd wel jammer dat er zo weinig zandstroken in zitten. Dus ja, ik hoop dat ze misschien nog wel iets aan gaan doen. We zijn toch een BK aan het rijden en dan mag je wel een stukje zitten waar dat verschil kan gemaakt worden en anders gaan we naar de massasprint gaan denk ik.
Van Looy, Verdonschot, de 2 grootste tegenstanders?
Ik denk het wel. Loes is jammer genoeg aan een slecht seizoen bezig. Het heeft natuurlijk ook omstandigheden, dus ik hoop dat ze volgende week een beetje doorkomt. Het zou mooi zijn om met 2 op het podium kunnen staan.
Dankjewel Sanne Kant. Dat podium, daar mag jij zo meteen naartoe naar die derde
Sanne
plaats.
Kant there crossing the line. Just let you hear your
de 3 vrouwen
interviews.
van het podium.
Class act is Sanne Kant, and I think that's finish, that battle that she had between herself and Anna Kay for that spot on the podium. There's, I think, Nikki, there's going to be a few riders coming out of that one that are quite happy with their form going into nationals next week.
Yeah, definitely. And it's again still 4 weeks to the World Championships. So you'll probably see, there's a few weeks for Sanna to really hit her top form as well. she's obviously, well, she was just saying there that she's feeling better race by race. She's obviously had a couple of wins in the Christmas period. So yeah, you can see her conditions probably coming on quite well towards Worlds as well.
Let's have a look back through the highlights. Annemarie Hurst ahead of Ceylin, Alvarado, Anneke Sarnekant, Katie Compton getting up there at this early stage. Anneke for Experza, and the gaps between the front pair and the chasers just started open. This off-camber section, you just see those roots right on that off-camber section becoming more and more exposed. There was Yara Castelline going down, took Laura Verdonschot out. This was the reaction, understandably, from Laura Verdonschot. Couldn't avoid her. It was she called the end of her ride not long after. That was the crash there for Ceylin Alvarado. And early on in the race, she found her way back to Annemarie Hurst at the head of the race. Yara Castelline was having a nightmare behind as she went down on that section. The frustration creeping in. Lechner and Kata Vass also delayed on that section, but it was a story of these two for the third spot on the podium, and Alvarado and Hurst ahead. Katie Compton sat with Sarnekant and Anneke just in her sight for most of the race. A phenomenal battle by the British rider as she fought for that podium spot. This was the slide here, the first little error there from Annemarie Hurst. Alvarado dropped down to the bottom and kicked on, and then this, remember that early on in the race, Annemarie Hurst going down, front wheel digs in, Hurst goes down, Alvarado gets the lead, and for the second year in a row would ride away to take the race. Sarnekant and Anneke, this was the fight for the podium spot, and Alvarado, Alpecin Phoenix, those new colours for Alvarado, crosses the line. Great victory for her. Annemarie Hurst in second place, and then the world champion Sarnekant crosses the line there. Here's your top 10. Ceylin Del Carmen Alvarado takes it from Annemarie Hurst, Sarnekant and Anneke. Compton, Bakker, Norbert Riberola, Castelline, Lechner and Van Looy, your top 10. 2 minutes and 41 seconds separating them in that one. What a race. I enjoyed that. That was a really good battle, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Between first and second and third and fourth as well. So 2 battles going on there. But yeah, it was unfortunate that Annemarie crashed where she did. But again, you know, you have to have a little bit of luck sometimes. And I think, you know, I'm pretty sure if you ask nearly all of those riders in the race today, at least they would have crashed at least once in the race. So yeah, it was just unfortunate. It was so much near the end. But yeah, good for Ceylin.
That's cyclo-cross as well, isn't it? Alvarado had that little tumble early on, and she got her bad luck chips out of the way. Annemarie Hurst, unfortunately, came for her on that last lap, that off camber section, and then that little off on the steps on that sort of amphitheatre on the university. But that's cyclo-cross. That's the beauty of our sport, isn't it?
It is. That's cyclocross, that's racing as a whole. I think, you have to hope for a little bit of luck as well on those days. And obviously it was Ceylin today that got her hands up in the air, and she had a little bit more luck than Annemarie.
And just one more comment on Sarnekant there, because I know, and I look on our chat forum all the time, and Sarnekant, when she's racing and sometimes on the podium, she can look quite serious. But I think that showed the smile of Sarnekant there, and the class of the world champion waiting beyond the line to give a handshake to Anneke. And we've seen her out, we saw her out in the other day moving rocks out and having a good laugh. It just shows what an ambassador she is for cross.
She is, and she has got a soft personality at heart. You know, when you see her off the bat and you're just chatting and it isn't a race situation, she is quite different and down to earth and friendly. But yeah, when you put a helmet on her and give her a bite, then she's got a different race head on, and yeah, she's definitely got a race face and ahead in the game at that time. But that's how you have to be, I think.
Yeah, I think you called it race mist. I always say when the red mist descends. You gave it a better title today than when the race mist descends. It's a great one. Okay, the men's race, if you're not familiar with it, goes on the hour. So we're just under 20. We're just over about 27 minutes away from the elite men's race. We've got a bit of halftime entertainment. We'll be back with about 10 minutes to go. See you shortly.
Jet, set for. Right, ready to go.
Just make sure you don't raise your arm too
No,
high.
no, I was thinking about that. You ready?
Now time for extreme.
No idea.
It's now time for extreme.
That didn't work. Stronger than me.
Oh, get rid of this cushion.
Cushion isn't needed now, for a while.
Not even strong enough to throw a cushion. Right.
Question up.
Question up!
We are going to start cycling shorts this week with the return of the one-inch bazooka! Might say that one more time.
All right, sorry.
Cecily, 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 Cecily. Cecily, 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 who tripled quick, finished in third. Right.
What was that?
He's filming.
There's a little calf there.
Yeah.
Like, we might have to move.
Danny! Danny! I don't know. I think it's that cart full of sweets. You know what, Dan? I don't think you're that far
Sorry,
off.
I was looking. I was completely glazed over then. I was looking a bit gormless.
Ollie, I guess. Well, that's a very good. Well, that's a very good point. I mean. Well, that's a very good point. I mean. Well, that's a very good point. I mean. now I said it. I can't say it again. Ollie, that is it. Ollie, that is. I can't get to it. Okay, you ready?
You get through to it just down there. Where is it?
Keep sending that leg up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're breathing. And release, take that foot down, Dan. Come down for a break, Dan.
And then next up is something you never see anymore.
It's getting excited out the hedge. Next up is something you never see anymore. What he wants to know is how you go from effort level 5 to level 10 when you don't have gears, you only have a resistance knob to turn. Where should he turn that knob up to get the right resistance?
So now that we've dumped those junk. So now that we've dumped. Dumped? Is that what he says?
Yeah.
What I want to know is if you go. Come on, I didn't even say knob.
We can then go out and smash our PBs on any rides and on any segment.
Yeah, sorry. How windy is it suddenly got?
I'm not using road bike, I'm using an indoor spin bike and I don't have gears. I've got a handle that I turn to make the resistance harder. What I want to know is if you go. Come on.
Where we're just thumping on the pedals. How deep is your love?
Is your love?
How deep is your love?
A little bit more protected on the inside of that outer shell. I do all of that again without, like...
Raise the right leg.
The right leg.
Exhale, swing it through.
Any tips on keeping helmets fresh? Mine has developed a smell, and I've tried everything from vinegar to Febreze, and the smell just won't go away. Come on, mate. What do you think? How do you keep your helmet fresh?
Well, I don't put Febreze on it, and I don't put vinegar on it either.
Well, no. Don't put vinegar on it.
Wash it in the shower. That's the best way.
Yeah, or even take the middle part out of the helmet, so the spongy...
Now I was accused last week of... Now I was accused of
Have you got like a booster seat, you know, like they give to like little kids in the car?
Any tips on keeping helmets fresh? Has developed a smell and I've tried everything from vinegar to Febreze.
Whatever you do, don't pour vinegar on it. And not Febreze either, don't spray it with Febreze. I normally wash mine in the shower when I'm washing everything else.
The Italian word for climber is scalatore, but he had a different name. He was known as scalatista. Scatista.
Any tips on keeping helmets fresh? I just hard to say that, mate.
Oh, stop it. Boom! What? The previously range topping 07. Oh, for fuck's sake. And in recent
cramp.
Keep going.
Alejandro. Alejandro Valverde and Lizzie Deignan, because, well, she knows the roads. And she's pretty good.
Vanderpool. How did John do it?
No, you stuttered. You got to, like, be as good as John.
Well, I don't know what he is.
Take it back down. Okay.
Vanderpool.
Back there.
Ah!
Get my nose! Okay, go.
Vanderpool.
Finally, finally.
Just check there's nothing coming up behind you quickly.
Nice, Chris, you sexy, fiendishly sexy over there.
Amazing how adept we've become at just stashing stuff on our laps, even though clearly, like, everyone knows that we've got something stashed down there, so to speak.
We all know you have, son. I've seen the video. Where's your wahoo, mate?
Actually, that's so dodgy. Where's your wahoo, Si?
Right, I'll start off.
Yeah.
I'll start off with one in from Peter.
Well, hang on, we're going to go again because I'll tee up the audience. I'll go.
Peter comes in with this from Hexham, Northumberland. Peter trimmed a frisbee, put a slit in it, a centre in the hole in it. No, sorry, I'm going to start that again. We got one in from Peter from Hexham, Northumberland. Peter trimmed a frisbee, put a slit.
Read it out.
Are you having me on? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're making me sweat. You're making me sweat because you make me do this again. We've got one in from Peter in Northumberland. Peter trimmed a frisbee, put a... No, I've got to read it. First up, we have one in from Peter. Now, he put a slit in this. First up, Peter comes in. He's...
Where's he coming in?
I don't know.
He's not coming in.
First up, we've got Peter and his frisbee. First up, Peter and his frisbee. He's put a slit in his frisbee, put it over his discs. And it created protection when he was cleaning the bike.
First up, we've got Peter from Northumberland, and he's got a frisbee, right? And he's put a slit in it, he's trimmed his frisbee, and he's using it as a protector so that when he cleans his bike, he slides it in between the cassette and his disc brake rotor so that he doesn't get any contamination on his disc brake rotor.
It's not between a cassette, it's between the hub and the disc brake.
Oh, for
My favourite bike has to be, I'm going to have to say, my...
Oh dear, what's that? Is that it? I don't know, sort of part of your hair above it. I thought it was a really long eyebrow. You've got one row
As Dan
hair.
just pulls my hair out. What are you trying to do, Dan? Just got a bit hairer than you.
Just slot. Oh. Pretty sure you just sat on my thumb.
Primoz Roglic had a mechanical problem and needed to change bikes. Suddenly.
4 great FTP sessions that are guaranteed to get your lungs burning as much out their legs.
He adds his name to a glowing.
Racing bikes, like,
Cream on the bottom and it's jam on the top.
Okay. Yeah, clear.
I'll get there in the end. There we go. It's super clear, concise. Cream on the bottom, jam on the top.
But if you're a bit more common, feel free to do it the other way around.
You can't say that. You can't say a bit more common.
What, than you? That's not an insult to anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This year, though, he was particularly dominant.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our blooper reel. As you can tell, most of the stuff I do is live, so I can't afford like 50 million takes. I did make a little appearance. And Lasty got in there as well for all you long-time GCN fans. We're not far away now from the men's race. Yes, I'd like to apologise. I said 27 minutes the end of the women's. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I can't tell the time. So we're not far. We're about 7 minutes away now from the elite men's race. If you don't want to know what happened in the elite women's race, if you want to go back and watch that one later on, you can look away in 5, 4, 3, 3-2-1. Let's have a look back. What a great race we had, and a battle at Carmen, Alvarado and Anna-Marie Huest. That final lap on the amphitheatre, the grass as they came down. Anna-Marie Huest going down on that section. It gave Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado the winner last year here at Brussels University, and she takes it again ahead of the fellow Dutch rider Anna-Marie Huest. While behind, it had been a great battle between world champion Sana Kant and Anna Kay for that third spot on the podium. The world champion gets the better today. Anna Kay takes fourth. Katie Compton, Manon Bakker, great ride by Manon Bakker in sixth. Norbert Ribeiro, Yara Kastelein, Ava Lechner and Ellen van Looy was your top 10. Let's have a look at them on the podium. There you have it. So it's Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado from Alpecin Fenix that takes the victory ahead of Anna-Marie Huest, and Sana Kant, the world champion. And you can see and any of you who don't say that Sana Kant doesn't have a sense of humour, there you have it, as we were saying just before that one. There's your GC now in the trophy. Overall, Ceylin Alvarado leading Anna-Marie Huest by 2 minutes and 10 seconds with 1 round to go. Yara Kastelein up there, 7:55 in third place. Good to see Blanka Katavas, the champion of Hungary, getting up there in the top 10 as well. Nikki Brammeier is back with me. And Nikki, the course, little tweaks that we've done, that Owen's done to the course, it's looking good. It should give us an exciting men's race.
Yeah, it's a good fast course, and there's a lot of different technical sections that they have to contend with, and yeah, it should be a good close race with the guys today, hopefully.
It should be indeed. Let's have a look back. But just to give you a little bit of info as well, we've had the Helen 100 today. The next round of that one, we'll bring you that after the men's race. We're getting a bit tight to the start of the men's race, so we'll bring you the highlights of the Helen 100 after the elite men's race. Let's remind ourselves of the DVV Trophy so far. That's been the DVV Trophy so far, and let's have a look at the standings and take you through those. So the DVV Trophy is done on accumulated time, and it's Eli Isabet that leads in the standings, and he's got lead 4:12 over Mathieu Vanderpool, 5:10 to Van Turenhout. 2 rounds to go, and Nicky's looking good, but if he doesn't finish or he has an issue over the last 2 rounds, that's a 5-minute penalty in this series, isn't it?
Again, it's cyclocross and anything can happen. You're not sure, you know. So, yeah, it won't just be comfortable with thinking it has won the series overall just yet. He'll want to put up, a fight for today, or for as long as he can anyway.
And Mathieu Vanderpool in the last round in Basel, he had a 53-second advantage. I think Ellie would probably thank Tom Pidcock for the attack that Tom Pidcock did to get himself up there. And as Mathieu kind of cruised on that last lap, he pulled it back to just over those 20 seconds, didn't he? And it was almost, you could say in Basel, a series sort of winning, or at least looking solid to take that overall. Because I think if Mathieu had pulled back maybe over a minute, he would have maybe gone into these final couple of rounds thinking, do you know what, I really can take this with two big victories.
Definitely, and I think Basel's a course where you can actually get a bit of time on people. These next two races are so fast that the time gaps are usually a little bit closer. So especially in Lille or something, you normally only see 10 or 15 seconds between riders at the end. So yeah, I think at the moment Ellie's pretty safe with this, unless something happens to him during these next two races where he doesn't finish.
Okay, let's have a look at the provisional start list. We're still actually we still haven't had the official start list from the elite women's race. So it's one of those days when we always say as commentators, it's just as well we pretty well know everybody by sight today. This was the provisional start list though. Mathieu Vanderpool, Toonarts was on that provisional start. Lars van der Haar, Laurens Sweeck, Elias a bit up there, 10th, number 10 there as well on our provisional starts. Tim Malier from Griffin Friestadt. Could be a good day for Tim Malier today. He's a good powerhouse.
It's a good, yeah, definitely. I think it's quite a fast course, and it's like more maybe for road riders today, just with a long section. So maybe a day for him, yeah.
Not far away from the start. Don't forget, subscribe to GCN Racing. It helps us to be able to bring you more live free cyclocross here on the channel. Hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Just become part of our community. Get subscribed. Hit that bell icon. Give us a thumbs up as well. The thumbs up helps us as well. So give us a thumbs up on our broadcast. So we're having great viewing figures. We're going to go straight down to the start line and get ready for live pictures. Get on board as well if you've got any questions regarding what's going on in the race. If you've got any questions for Nikki Brammeier, we can put them to her afterwards. There's your standings for 12. Separating those top two, 14 minutes and 50 seconds, separating that top 10 overall. Jens Adams at 14 minutes and 50, now kind of out of contract. We saw Jens Adams in plain kits. If you're wondering what the weather forecast is, it's about 7 degrees Celsius, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and a great course here today, Nikki. And we got that carousel section in the men's race. Anywhere that you can see going to be really, really decisive. Looking at the women's race so far.
Maybe those sections of the, the pump track where they're having to run up or ride up and then kind of come back down. I think people are making mistakes, and people are tired at this point in the season after the Christmas period. So maybe just this race might be won or lost on a few mistakes.
The riders just getting ready, get those jackets. Lars van der Haar here, the Telenet Bauer's rider. It's good powerhouse on a course such as this. Michael Van Toren out alongside him for Power Sales and Bingo. The Tim Malier is Stephen Hyde. Good second row start there for the American. Had a good ride in Basel. Did Stephen Hyde. He's knocking on the top 10. Corne van Kessel, this Tormans team. This is the Circus Wanty Group Gobert team that they always decide just to make things complicated for us. Give the cyclocross team another name. There's Mathieu Vanderpool. This giving us a nice close-up there of tyre choice, Yanni Vermeersch and Jens Adams alongside. Do you think most riders on those tyres that Vanderpool's chosen today?
Yeah, I think people will either be having maybe a Rhino or a bit of a Mud on the front, and then maybe a Typhoon on the back, or just Typhoons, which is like an intermediate tyre. Most riders will be on the same thing, I think. You kind of, when you're going around the course beforehand, you're having a little look at what everybody's on, and you kind of all end up going on the same.
There's the focus. The red lights go. We are almost racing. Away we go. The lights are green. Jens Adams on your left. Mathieu Vanderpool, Tim Malier just trying to find that big gear. Corne van Kessel in those white, fluorescent yellow and dark blue colours. Just gets up as we get into this section here. It's quite a short start and then straight into some running here.
Yeah, a good start's important.
quite a small field. 34 riders are on the start list. There's Tom Meusen for you Tom fans. Stephen Hyde getting up there. Meusen now in that grey, yellow, orangey, reddy colours of the Group Hens Mass Containers team. The two Cannondale Cyclocross World.com riders just moving up on the outside as Tim Malier now gets the front on the opening lap here in this DVV Trophy here in Brussels. Malier for Kreefin Friestads will, of course, team up with the man that's on his wheel for Alpecin Fenix on the road. These teams, a lot of the teams owned by the same management team, so they distribute the riders within different cross teams just to give their sponsors maximum exposure. Curtis White going through your picture there. Let's just run you through some of your other riders that we've got on our start. So Curtis White, Andrew Giuliano is wearing 32 for the Grit World Racing team. The other riders we've also got in there as well. So we've mentioned Stephen Hyde, that's also on the start today. Klepe Bastian's also up there as we go into this little carousel section. As Lars van der Haar is quite far back here. Lars van der Haar on this opening lap. Your leading group, Malier, Vanderpool, Michael Van Torenhout, Corne van Kessel and Eli Isovic are sprinting to get onto the back of the group.
Yeah, and it's always a bit daunting this first lap, I think, for the men and for the women. It's like a couple of hours probably since they've ridden the course. And obviously the women have raced before these guys, and maybe the course has changed a little bit, got a little bit slippier than it was in pre-lap. So you might find people changing bikes, you know, having to put different tyre pressures on and things like that.
Jens Adams just going through. Quite surprising to see Jens Adams not with a contract, because he's a solid pro, isn't he? He's always there and thereabouts. He doesn't win a huge amount, but for a team and a sponsor, he's always up there. The man there wearing 11 in the white.
Yeah, definitely disappointing, but you know, there's so many good riders at the moment, and it's difficult for teams just to take on more riders, and hopefully we'll find a team by the end of the season.
Hopefully onto this off-camera section. If you weren't with us for the women's race, you just see those sneaky little routes that are appearing as they just slide out here. Jim Arnouts goes down. If you're not a cross rider and you're new to cyclocross, they're pesky little things, routes like that, aren't they, when you're out on your bike?
Definitely are, yeah. Especially when it's off-camber sections. You need a lot of speed to be able to ride over them.
Don't forget, get on board on the forum. If you just want a little shout out where you're watching and where you're watching from, we've had 60. I have a little ticker that goes through. I have them all on one page. I've got 62 pages of chat today. I do love sitting watching your chat afterwards. If you've got any questions relating to the racing, throw them in there. If you're new to cyclocross and you're interested and we're not explaining something that you're curious about, just pop that on there. If you've got a little bit more general questions, just pop them in there and we'll do our best to ask Nikki afterwards. We can do a little bit of a Q&A with Nikki afterwards as Malier Tim Malier tries to hand sling around that section, and that shows sometimes that sometimes it's not the best decision to make.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes those hang slings actually make it a little bit slower for you. It's not always, obviously you can see here it's not always the best decision. Obviously Matthews took the wider line, found a little bit more grip than Tim managed to get.
Van Kessel trying to close the gap, but that would if that had handed Mathieu Vanderpool the lead for the next hour, it would there would be a few riders in there maybe having a sneaky word with Tim Malier on the way past. You're like, come on, you can't make it that easy for him.
I think so, yeah.
Onto this little off-camber section. Isovic drops down to the bottom as Van Kessel kicks on. Mathieu Vanderpool riding the high ground. Yesterday, another victory for Vanderpool in Otterham. A few of you asking over on the forum, who is with me? It's Nikki Brammeier that's with me in commentary today. You will, if you've been a fan of cyclocross for any part of probably the last many years, Nikki retiring at the back end of last season. And the last time she was with us in commentary, we had Ida was expected, and now she's with you.
Yeah, Ida's upstairs with her grandma at the minute, so she's sleeping away. She's a good baby. She
Excellent.
Sleeps a lot.
She knows when we're live on air. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Out of that turn, Vanderpool kicks on. Isabit, the series leader, is with him. So 4 minutes and 12. That's quite a big gap to try and close down. You see the riders just running down off this fast section there into the bunny hops, into the planks. So for American fans, White and...
It's a really strange pace just to have those planks in the place that they are. That's maybe why you don't always see the men bunny hopping just because they're in such an awkward position with a corner straight after them.
Got a little delay as well. Again, you see from Yanni Vermeer. So the Griffin Freestadt riders, as they go onto this little section, Vanderpool has the front. Isabit closely with him. Corny Van Kessel as Yanni Vermeer sprints down that section with the bike on the shoulder. It's kind of sprinting. You've just got to let yourself go when you run down a section like that.
We do, and I think even riding down there at the minute looks quite tricky because there's a lot of ruts coming up, and they've been getting deeper through the women's race, and maybe that's why you're seeing some of the riders crashing at those points in the women's race, just because it's getting a lot slippier out there.
Benson Bastian's going through for Group Hens Mass. A few of you asked me where Quentin Hermans is. Not taking the start. Was saying on social media earlier, not feeling too great, Quentin Hermans, so not taking the start. There's Mathieu. If you went with us for Barlas, Corny Van Kessel gets through to the front here for the Tormans team. You'll see them on the road with Circus 1-2 Group Gobert this season, both Corny Van Kessel and Quentin Hermans. Van Kessel has been on some great form as of late as the Dutchman through to the front, and they're just settling into that new equipment. And you can see they're on the cube bikes for the Tormans team as we go through the line at the end of lap 1. Our time 7:25. So Van Kessel, Vanderpool, Adams, Isabit, Vermeer, Mathieu, Malier trying to get on to the group. There's Vermeer in the gap. Then going through, Vincent Bastians is just ahead of the next group. So Kleppe, Arnouts, Peters, Arts, Curtis White going through with Lars van der Haar and Stephen Hyde not far behind. Curtis White today, 14th at this point. These are the times, the days for the Americans as Adams comes through to the front. For someone like Curtis White, for the American riders, they're just knocking on the door of the top 10. If he could just get up there, try and get a top 10 today, that would be a good solid result for someone like Curtis White.
It definitely would, and it seems this is a little bit more like an American course in one way, just because it's so fast, and the courses over there are really fast. This looks quite similar, so maybe they're just thriving in these conditions.
Vanderpool through to the front, just controls. You see, just slid out that back wheel as he was already dismounting. As Van Kessel gets around that corner, it might take a couple of races as well for the likes of Corny Van Kessel just to settle into that new equipment. This is quite worth a look here. Vanderpool riding that section where pretty much everyone else is having to run it.
Yeah, that looks quite a good line on the right. There looks a little bit more grip there, some grass where he can actually get some grip so he can ride it. The other guys are on the left-hand side.
Vanderpool from Van Toren out. Van Kessel, Adams is your next group. Vermeer going back to Thijs Arts. Jim Arnouts going through next. There's Lars van der Haar. So good that they're showing the Cannondale cyclocrossworld.com riders. Good to see Stephen Hyde in there. Into my favourite section, the carousel, as Vanderpool leads out on that one. Thanks all of you for getting on board over on the forum. Thanks for saying hi. We've got Neil McGrath in Edmonton in Alberta. Thanks for saying hi. We've got Angelo from Maulov in Denmark going through as well. So just asking how many laps. So we go through the next first 2 laps, and then they will calculate that one from there. Neil Ashton checking in. Herman Shenoy from Verona, Wisconsin. Christopher Jensen, thanks for saying hi. Nicola Baracco asking why no Wout today. He rode in Otterheim yesterday. Just taking a little while just to get back into it. Wout van Aert, he was 4th yesterday in Otterheim, so he's getting there. He's getting back. So thanks. Well, hopefully he'll have a solid full cyclocross season next year. Adams Adams, as we say, privateer from that big pro team back in there. We'll see if any team decides to sweep up Jens Adams. And this is exactly what you've got to do when you're in this position, Nikki. And Jens Adams, sometimes it can be the fire that you need to just, when you've, as we said, he's there and thereabouts, top 10s quite consistently, not having the big pro team, not having that big backup, maybe sometimes having to rock up and on your own take care of a lot more than you've normally had to. It just can maybe ignite something to remind you of why you love doing what you do.
It definitely can, and I think it just gives, like it could just kind of puts that fire in your belly and just makes you want to get those results, so people do see what kind of a good rider you are. And like I said, it hopefully you can get a ride by the end of the season, or maybe kind of midsummer it can be in a cross team ready for next year.
It's Michael Vantoren now that's leading out for Poel, Sals and Bingo. Mathieu Vanderpool, the world champion in that rainbow jersey, locked in and ready, has started his next unbeaten streak for a while. Look at the power and speed through that section by these two riders. If you're just joining us today, welcome aboard. We're on the DVV Trofee. I hope you're saying that right. Shouty Fons will be on the forum if I've got that wrong. He's up there. We're round 7, Brussels University today. Your series leader, Elie Iserbyt. This is the penultimate round of the DVV Trophy. 4:12 ahead of Mathieu Vanderpool. Michael Vantoren out third at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Tom Meyerson now in the colours of that Group Hens mass. There's Elie Iserbyt going through as Michael Vantoren now presses on at the front. They've hopefully for Poel, Sals and Bingo calmed a few of the sensitivities that were creeping in Diegem.
Hopefully, yeah. I think, like I said a couple of times, I think nationals will be quite interesting for that team next week. Maybe kind of they'll get to show who is best on that team and who deserves to be at the front of these races. And I think they're okay probably off the bike, but everything's always a little bit more exaggerated, isn't it?
It is indeed. Adams drops down to the bottom of that section. You can see Elie Iserbyt kicks it out of that corner. Series leader wants to get onto the back of the group. Meyerson in these new colours. We just get used to the riders in their new team colours. Corey Van Kessel there through that section. Meyerson looking good here behind for Group Hens Mass. I know a lot of you big fans of Tom Meyerson, and for the US fans, we'll see, hopefully we'll get a glimpse of Curtis White and Stephen Hyde behind. Can they break into the top 10 here today as Vanderpool comes through to the front with Vantoren out and Corey Van Kessel right on the wheel. When we were here a year ago, it was that man on the front, Mathieu Vanderpool, that took it. We had an hour and 3 minutes and 33 seconds of racing. It was Tonartsu was second, Michael Vantoren out third, as they just get the hand slings off the wooden stakes in the ground. Lars van der Haar was fourth, Elie Iserbyt fifth, Jens Adams sixth here last year, Corey Van Kessel seventh, Laurent Sweet was eighth, Yoli Bertolini got up there in ninth, and Mikael Borosh found his way into the top 10 as Vanderpool exits that section, starts the run up. It's just we saw last year them being able to ride this section, but you can see already, Nikki, that the riding that's gone on just a little bit damp underfoot. No one managing to ride that section today.
Yeah, you just have to keep your speed, and obviously I think coming into these sections they can see that just getting off the bike beforehand and running is going to keep the speed better than it is to try and ride and then get off halfway up. It's also interesting watching Mathieu. He's always taken a bit of a different line from everybody else. He's never one to follow the pack and just kind of go with what the rider's doing in front of him. He's always looking for a bit of a different line, coming at it differently, coming out of it with more speed. This is such a fast course, and you never really want to be on your own. It helps to be on the wheels, especially on the long straight sections, and then you're kind of fighting for the technical section so that you're not going to be held up by someone else's mistake.
We were chatting about this before we came on air, and it was something that was kind of playing around in my mind yesterday when I was out on my cross bike getting muddy and playing around in the mud. If you look at Mathieu Vanderpool, and you just touched on it there with the different lines that Vanderpool takes on these corners, he's already now stretching this advantage over Vantoren out with Van Kessel losing some meters. But if you've got 15, 18, 20 corners on any given course as Vanderpool goes through at the end of lap 2. 15:03 is your lap time. But Mathieu, if he's taking half a second through each corner or a second or something like that, it's not outside the realms of reality, is it, that in the course of a lap you can take 15 and 20 seconds if your line choice and your speed through those corners is that much different to everyone on every single corner?
Definitely, and that's how cross races are won. You know, they're won on seconds, they're not won on minutes. You know, like in a mountain bike, you know, a race could be won by 4 or 5 minutes, but in cross it's seconds. And if you can get 3 seconds because you can just go around the course that little bit, around the corner that little bit faster than somebody else, then it's easy, really. If you've got the confidence to do that, which obviously Mathieu has.
Onto this section, he's managing to ride that. Michael Vantoren out, fighting to stay in second position here. Manages to ride that. So does Corne van Kessel. The riders behind not able to. Vantoren out carrying some speed. Needs to try and get back to Mathieu van der Poel. Needs to try and get back to him quickly if he can. You can see sprinting up this section as he tries to get back up to him. And Van der Poel, just this first little burn that Van der Poel does. And we see this time and time again, don't we?
Yeah, he's just testing the legs, testing what everybody else is feeling like, and he'll probably have a little look back in a minute and see that he's already stretched the field out, and that'll give him confidence for when he really does go. You know, he knows that he'll probably end up dropping everybody.
He's building that. Here's Elias a bit with Tim Malier. Jens Adams right behind him. I'll apologise to Tim Malier after. I'll have to tweet him and say sorry that I completely cursed him right from the... Vanderpool goes down, clips that on the carousel section. Just misjudged that one.
Yeah, I think he must have just slid out there and hit something. Or is he? Oh, he's back on. Nothing's wrong with his bike, I don't think. Or maybe it is.
It is. So Vanderpool's got to put the chain back on. So Mathieu van der Poel kicks on here, goes down. We'll see if we get another angle on that one. It looked like he slid out, potentially clipped the wooden stake. Let's have a look here. Slides out, clips that one. Just got caught on the barrier there. You see that the banner's just got ripped there as the front wheel just dug in.
Yeah, and then his pedals just spun backwards, so it's throwing the chain off. That's why he's just had to put that back on as well.
That was a beautiful shot there of Michael Vantoren out. That controlled slide by the Poel Sauzen bingo rider. That's I remember Vanderpool when we saw the close-ups last year. You saw the way Michael Vantoren out just locked up the back wheel on the bricks and just slid his way into that descent.
Yeah, it's a good way to get around those corners because they are really tight. They are difficult. It's very difficult to keep the speed around those sections. So, yeah, if you've got a bit of acrobatics in you, then it helps.
The pinwheel of doom, Travis Dunn is saying. I think a few of you have nicknamed that, but yeah, the pinwheel of doom, definitely the carousel of doom. I think we might call that one after that little off. Vanderpool just looks now, sees that group just ahead of him. That was the... and Elias a bit goes down on that section, just catches the bike as he gets up there. The camera angle doesn't quite show the steepness. You've got lots of exposed roots here, Nikki. You can just see him just hit those top roots and just slides out.
It's super steep, and I think like the roots almost become shiny and just like ice kind of when you're going over them. So if you hit them wrong, then that's what happens. Your front wheel's just going to go out and you're going to come off.
Yeah, those little roots are exposed. The power though of the Alpecin Fenix rider as he gets back on to the group. The race mist, as Nikki was calling it earlier, definitely descends thicker when Vanderpool has to battle back from adversity. We've seen that quite a lot over the last few races. Namur and Lowenhout being two of those.
It does, yeah. You really have to keep calm when anything goes on and not go kind of too crazy. Keep your composure and just work your way back up. And I think Mathieu does that quite well.
Up that bank, the trio of leaders, Elias a bit trying to those little issues on those climbs. Watch as well if you're new to cross or you have a look. Watch the wheels on the roots, especially on that off camber section where you see the roots are from the trees as being really exposed. That little section where Elias a bit went down, and it gives you a good lesson. It can be a good grounding sometimes, Nikki, in terms of as a cross rider, if you're an amateur rider or you're a young rider looking to be a pro, in terms of how you ride those rooted sections and controlling the bike, the little movements subtle movements that you've got to make to just try and keep traction.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come easy, and it's a skill that you have to learn over time. And you just have to kind of learn where your body sits on the bike, and have a good core and just make sure your bike's dialed in to be able to go over sections like that. But it's again just something that learns and comes with race experience.
Out quick as well, this course at Brussels University. Your trio leaders. Good to see Corne van Kessel in here. Looks like Corne with Tormans. He's going to go onto the road with Quentin Hermans on that Circus 1T Group Gobert team. There's nothing like as well sometimes for someone like Corne, having been with Telenet Bauer's Lions. Sometimes a new team gives you that new motivation.
Yeah, change of scenery, change of people. It's just kind of, it just gives you a bit of fire in your belly again, and you're able to go out there and perform a little bit better, just a different perspective, really.
And on this course, as the afternoon goes on, because it gets cut over course, the temperature starts to drop as the afternoon goes on. Would there be a rider in terms of the tyre choice, tyre pressure as this hour goes on here, and the temperature starts to cool as we get into the darkness of the evening, as Michael Vantoren now rides that section? First rider that we've seen do that today. Will that be a consideration, Nikki, as the race goes on here?
I think riders won't really be changing tyres, but maybe the change in pressures a little bit. Some people will be going a little bit lower in pressure just to get a little bit more grip on these corners, because you can see they're getting super slick now. But it's a really difficult race to decide what tyre pressure to put in, because there's so many fast sections. So you almost want your tyres to be like a road tyre on those parts. But then you get to the technical sections and it's a toss-up between, running or riding, and then you need the grip there as well, where you need lower tyre pressures. So it's a really difficult one, especially on this course.
Thanks all of you for getting on board. It's great to see so much of your chat going on. If you're just tuning in today, your leading group: Michael Vantoren out, Corne van Kessel, Mathieu Vanderpool with Ellie Isabit, Tim Malier, Yanni Vermeersch, Tom Meusen not far off the back of the group. Can this group of riders get back on? Few teams represented in these chases behind. Onto the road at the end of lap 3. You can see now lap 3 of 8 we are on here. Vanderpool goes through as Isabit and Malier just get on. 22 minutes and 57 seconds is your gap. 3 seconds back to Yanni Vermeersch, 6 seconds back to Tom Meusen. Vermeersch might make contact just at the end of the road section. Jens Adams goes through next. He's still not far off the back of the group there. Meusen in 7th. Meusen needs to get on here, but the reinforcement of this group as Ellie Isabit now comes through to the front. Definitely got a race on our hands now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you see Mathieu take on this next section again, he might be able to ride it, whereas the others have to run it, and he'll probably put another dig in there.
This is this section, this little climb. Vantoren out, leads out, Isabit on the wheel. These two, as Van Kessel has to dismount. Vantoren out looking good at the front. Michael Vantoren out's looking good today. He's got good speed, good power for me, Vantoren out today.
Yeah, he's a good rider, and on his day he can win races, and he's good in these kind of conditions as well. He's a good runner.
Good on the way that we run down into the plank section as well today. He's got great technique on the planks as well. That you can see might suit him a little bit more today.
Yeah, you can, and obviously they can take a little bit of recovery if there's a bigger group as well on the road sections. So he's giving himself the best chance there to perform on those technical areas as well.
Gives him a little bit of a boost. A few of you asking what happened to Mathieu Vanderpool, putting that first little turn and burn, that first little attack, went down on the pinwheel of doom, as it has been nicknamed by all of you great GCN racing viewers. Went down, managed to pick himself up. They allowed that group to come back in, but we've now got a solid group here. 2 representatives from Corenden Freistadt, 2 from Poel Bingold, 1 from Alpecin Phoenix, and then Tormund's Cyclocross, the yellow, white and blue colours here of Corne van Kessel, moving across to that team from Telenet Bauer's Lions, and they're the team that have missed out here at the moment, Nikki, the Telenet Bauer's Lions riders.
Yeah, they are. They need to put in a bit of an effort to get back up to this group, but it's again such a fast course. It is difficult to make that time up, especially if you're in 1s and 2s. You know, you need a group to be able to push that pace forward. But the carousel section, I remember, it makes you, well, from racing one in Rookfen in Holland, it definitely makes you quite dizzy coming out of that section.
Especially at this speed.
Yeah, it does.
Dropping down off that steep bank, east of it goes through, and Ellie will be glad that he's got the teammate in here today. Mathieu Vanderpool winning this race last year. This is the second time that we've been here to Brussels University. It's a great course that we've got, and it also as well forces the riders off and are running all of these off-camber sections. Yanni Vermeersch, quick feet from the Corenden rider to try and stay with him onto this section. Look at those little roots that are just exposed on this off-camber section. All of the riders just dabbing that foot as Vermeersch goes down, just loses it. Frustration creeping in there for Vermeersch as Vanderpool onto the wheel here of Michael Van Turenhout.
A course like this is, well, it's super hard on the head because you're having to concentrate so much. I think even more so than physically at times, because you're just mentally having to be aware of what's coming up all the time, and your reaction time has to be absolutely on it to not make mistakes.
So Yanni Vermeersch, oh, you can see there, he was so frustrated, and the handlebars have turned, and that's a shame for Vermeersch. Great start from the Corenden rider today, as we'll now try and run to the pits to get a bike change, and that off-camber section you saw just slid out. Nothing he can do on that, but that shows today's course. It's a very, very subtle little sections as Corne van Kessel goes in with Ellie Isabit for a bike change.
It's a course where you'd look at it before and you wouldn't really imagine there'd be that many crashes on it, or there'd be riders having to really have problems on it, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
Tom Meyerson from Hens Mascatenas, you can see he's on Scott bikes. Now, a lot of you asking if Tom Pidcock, Cameron Mason are riding today. Not riding today. Tom Pidcock and Cameron Mason are probably prepping for Nationals next week. So we go into National Championships. A few of you asking if we're going to be covering any Nationals. Not sure on that one yet. Keep an eye on @GCN Tweet. And also, if you keep an eye on my Twitter, @MartyMacTV, I'll do my best to let you know if we do get anything, because there's a bit of talk, but nothing signed up on that one yet, so we'll confirm that one as soon as we know. So @GCN Tweet, you'll be able to keep an eye on that. Your leading group as Madeleine gets almost onto the back of this section. Tom Meyerson riding that. Good to see Scott Bikes up there in this one as well. We're now under Tom Meyerson. That will please them. We saw them out for many years under the likes of Ian Field, Nick Craig, those sort of riders. There's the close-up there of Jens Adams. Privateer. Superb, we could say, for Jens Adams.
Yeah, he's having a great ride today.
There's your next group, led by Lars van der Haas. Stephen Hyde is in that group with the Telenet Bauer's Lions riders. So there's your confirmation on your graphic of your leading group. It would be, as we said, it'd be a good day for Stephen Hyde if he can crack the top 10 today, perhaps, as Meyerson into that. It's all about exiting those planks, putting them off that little downhill run, and quite tight before that corner, the plank placement today.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you really have to accelerate out of every single corner to get your speed back up, to get, to make sure you remain within these groups. Really difficult when you're fourth or fifth wheel. It's better when you're on the front or your second wheel, so you're not losing those 1 or 2 bike lengths every corner and having to make those big jumps every single time you're going in and out of these sections.
Vantoren out, leaning out on there. This looks like he's looking good. But you know, I'm not saying anything today about Michael Vantoren out. Not making any predictions, not going to do the GCN curse or anything. I'm just going to say he's looking good out there today, Michael Vantoren out. Runs that section, Vanderpool right behind. He's a bit there sprinting on. This sort of course, would you say, Nikki, that it suits someone like Ellie a little bit lower centre of gravity with all the twists and turns compared to someone like Mathieu, who's a little bit taller? Is that where Ellie can really use that sort of height, that power, that lower centre of gravity?
I think so, and even just being able to sit in the wheels, you know, if you look at Ellie compared to Mathieu, he's a much smaller rider, he's able to, you know, get a bit of, a bit more recovery, maybe sat on the road sections and on these long grass sections, and which is obviously going to pay off a little bit later in the race.
He's the leader overall. There's Jens Adams in the white. So he's picking out the rider here for so many years with that Marlux bingo and Paushausen bingo. Just see the mechanics in the pits here getting ready for the bike changes on to, we're on lap 4 of 8 here, the end of lap 4. So we're going through 30 minutes and 50 seconds on racing as we go through that half distance. There's your gaps. There's Tom Meusen is at 6 seconds. This leading group here are almost waiting for that move to come. Meusen is fighting to get back in here for Hensmas, as is Jens Adams. And I think this is the beauty of the DVV and the season-long timed competition, because riders are still, even though the top 10 are separated by 14 minutes and 50 going into today, it might be 10 seconds, 20 seconds between you and moving up onto the potentially the top 3 on the podium come the end of the series.
Definitely, I think with the DVV series, every single course is totally different. You know, you can get some really fast courses like this one, Lille, and then you get the really heavy, sluggy courses. You know, like Bar we're seeing the other day. So I think it's like a varied competition for all different riders. There's not really one style that suits everyone.
No, Vanderpool on the front makes a little move up through that section back to Meus, and you can just see that group just ahead of him, can almost just reach out and touch that group. But Vanderpool now makes his second attack of the day and already just gapping that group. Vantoren out's got to react. They're looking pretty gassed behind as Vanderpool goes, and he's already opening up a few meters advantage now over that chasing group. The sort of sucker punch now from Mathieu Vanderpool. He would have had a look around on that group, seeing that they were starting to get a little bit gassed at half distance. Now into the carousel here, rides that section cleanly this time. This at half distance, this looks like his race winning move here.
It does, and nobody really looked as though they reacted to even try and go with him. They almost kind of accepted, okay, he's going now, and they'll just have to either try and crawl the way back up if he makes a mistake, or fight for second place. It's almost like they've accepted, you know, he's gone now and that's it.
Here he goes. Alpecin Fenix, the new sponsors of Mathieu Vanderpool, onto the road and mountain bike this season with the sponsors looking, of course, for that Olympic mountain bike title onto those bricks. You can see the many changes in surface for the riders there through those bricks, that little drop off onto that muddy descent, and already now opening up the advantage on this lap. So going through all together, we'll see if my theory on every corner pays dividends on the when we get back to the finish. See how many, I'll quickly count up how many corners, because I think there's more than there is.
I'll leave you to that one.
We'll quickly count it up. Oh, he's got 18 seconds on 18 corners.
Yeah, what you usually find, they would put a massive gap into them, like at this point in the race, and it really won't go out any further. He's just able to go over his limit that much deeper than everybody else. And really, I think it's a mental game when it comes to that part as well.
For Vanderpool, when you look at big champions like Vanderpool, and you look at the way he nails this course and the lines that he takes through here, and there's almost that as a top athlete and a top pro, almost like that, the way that Formula One drivers have and the race car drivers, in the way that your brain processes information. Because when you talk to some people that work in motorsport, you almost process information at a different speed. It's almost like sometimes things can be in slow motion in the way that your brain processes. Okay, I'm going to take this line through this section and this line through that section.
It is, and I think to some people it actually comes really naturally, and they know what's a good line on a course, and they understand the apex of a corner and what speed you need to go in at, what speed you need to come out. And other riders, it really takes them a lot of work, and I think for Mathieu it's something that comes natural to him, and he thrives off doing that. He's got a lot of confidence. He's ridden his bike for so many years, raced for a lot of years, and he knows the limits of his bike. He knows how hard he has to push on a corner to get around it. He does make mistakes. He's human at the end of the day, but he's just able to be in sync with his bike and be at one with it.
The race mist has descended, as Nikki said earlier, the red mist, as I call it, as Vanderpool kicks on here. Van Kessel, Isabet and Van Turenhout just needed a moment there to just recover, and Vanderpool looked for some grip, slides out on that off-camber section, manages to recover. And these are just the fractions of a second where they might be able to pull back a second or so. But you're all in the same boat, aren't you, essentially?
You are, and you're totally on your limit in cross. There's no let up, and you just have to be, going over your limit constantly and try and recover in a matter of seconds. So it's easy to make mistakes at the same time, but also it's easy for you not to make mistakes, then for that to pay off at the end by putting a couple of seconds into the rider behind you.
There's a nice close-up shot of Tom Meyerson. And if you haven't seen Game of Bike, you can go on to the main GCN channel. Jeremy Powers went out, had a game of bike with Tom Meyerson, the king of the bunny hops, you would say. Got that Cyclocross Masters competition coming up where they do the height competition. The two chasers here, Poel Sausenbingal of Elisabeth and Michael Van Turenhout. The proximity of the planks to the corners there and that speed section, you don't often see Michael Van Turenhout bunny hopping with his hands on his brake levers.
No, it comes really quickly at you, so yeah, I think that's why he's doing that. You have to do that with the corner straight away afterwards, otherwise you're going to carry too much speed and end up hitting the barrier or just coming down.
Thanks all of you for getting on board. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up on our live broadcast as well. Just hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to GCN Racing. Lots more coming up here on the channel this year. And we've got another couple of months of cyclocross action to bring you as Mathieu Vanderpool manages to ride that section then into the road. We brought you so much great road stuff this year. We did so much as well. Women's pro cycling as well is a big focus here on GCN Racing, as is cyclo-cross. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we go live or upload a new video. That section, you're just starting to see now the rider Vanderpool kind of, we saw it when Tom Pidcock manages to ride a section. He takes mental notes as well of other riders. He would have seen Michael Van Turenhout ride that particular section a lap or so ago, and just picking exactly the same line just a couple of laps later.
He does, and I'm pretty sure if he wanted to, he could maybe attack really early on in the race and drop everybody then. But I think he kind of wants to wait and see what other riders are doing, what lines are taking, where they're making up positions, and then he uses that, processes it really quickly, and then uses it for himself. Because again, like we saw him before, he can crash and anything can happen. You can get mechanical, so he wants to have as much information early on as he can.
Vanderpool caught the timing and graphics guys by surprise there as he went through that section. They weren't quite ready for him with the timer going through on the end of that section. Here comes your chasers though. You saw it was the time from the previous lap as Van Turenhout and Isabet go through next. Merlier goes in for a pit change. So for Griffin Freestats, so lap 6 of 8 that we are on here.
Yeah, you don't really want to be on your own in this race. It's very difficult, when you haven't got a wheel to follow or, somebody else to race with. It's you're almost in no man's land.
Or indeed Vanderpool just through that section, and just as well to let you know, if you're curious as to why the shot just stays on Mathieu Vanderpool. We, as any broadcaster does, we can only take what the host broadcaster sends. So we don't control the cameras. So Mathieu Vanderpool at the front, the director, especially in somewhere like Belgium, and they celebrate the winner here. They love focusing on the winner, and they'll go back and show us shots like this. If we've got some, we have seen recently the likes of Zdeněk Stybar and those sort of riders, they'll go a little bit further down through the group. So we can only show you what we get sent from the host broadcaster. So that's why you don't get all the way through, and that's why we can't vary the shots that we give you, because that's what we get sent. Here's your chasers: Ellie Eastbit, Michael Van Toren out, Corny Van Kessel here for Tormans, trying to get back onto the group. Good to see another manufacturer up here for Corny, under the legs of Corny Van Kessel.
It is, yeah. Again, he's only changed teams a couple of days ago, so we'll just be getting used to that setup, used to that bike, see how it rides. But it looks like he's riding it pretty well so far.
He is indeed. Mathieu, as a lot of riders went off and headed off to France this weekend to race. There's a lot of talk about the course yesterday over in France. That little section through those bricks drops down through there onto the mud. This steep drop off down onto the road. Vanderpool looking absolutely phenomenal out here, as he always does. That attack, when it came, put in the early one, went down in the carousel. Picked himself back up, looked around at the group, and then went again. And these are your chasers. These are your second riders, second and third place riders heading for the podium today. Isabit goes hot through that section.
Yeah, it's getting slippy on these tarmac sections now, especially coming from the muddy downhills. You've got mud stain on your tyres, and that's going to make it more slippy as soon as you hit the road sections.
Isabit and Vanderpool, just Van Toren out rather, sharing the work on that section. Vanderpool rides that one beautifully. As the Poel chasers can't let up here at all, or they will allow Corny Van Kessel to get back into the group. Winner in Otterhem yesterday, Mathieu Vanderpool. Is that Dutch National Cyclocross Championships next week. It's going to be difficult to look beyond him for taking that one. The man from Tormans is going to be one of those riders that will be fighting for the title. Looking phenomenal again as he just dives left and right. The speed on this, I think that long shot there, Nikki, just shows the speed and the fluidity of the riding of Mathieu Vanderpool.
Yeah, he's just got that seated power, and kind of once he's in the flow of the race and he knows his lines, and he knows, everything's dialed in. He's just, he just makes it look easy, and that's when you know someone's going pretty fast.
Is indeed. As there you go, drop through that section. I think it's a great addition to the calendar, this course. I really like what they've done here. I love the history and traditional courses, but I like what they've done here with this course.
I think it's just really quite a different course to anything else we see really in the calendar. I feel like there's maybe 8 different sections to this course. It doesn't flow the best when you're racing it, and you really have to concentrate on what's coming up next. But there seems to be a little bit of everything in it, which is probably why it's good to watch.
Is indeed. There's a nice close-up shot there of the tyre pressures and the tyres of our leader, Mathieu Vanderpool.
It's a course where you have to just constantly be pedalling. There's no let up at all. You can't take a breather anywhere, really. You've just got to be on the gas, getting that power out as much as possible.
Just drop down through that section as you can just see the back wheel just kick in. You got that 2-wheel drift. That's a great shot there of Isabit. The skill of a cross rider, isn't it? That back wheel going south while you just got to keep the pressure on, keep the power, and it skips back in.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is stop pedaling in those moments. You just have to keep pedaling through, just like you do in sand. The more that you pedal, the better and easier it's going to feel, and the faster you go at the end of it. If you stop pedaling for a second, that's when you lose momentum, and then you'll slow down, or that's when a crash happens.
Tom Mewison Hensmass Containers, so good signing for the Hensmass Containers team is Tom Meyerson. We see Vinny Bastians over the last few years are there and thereabouts, but I think the signing of Tom Meyerson, and hopefully that will give him the motivation that he needs to get back up there. Corne van Kessel trying, fighting to close that gap back up to the Pals Southern riders. Thanks for all saying hi on Twitter today as well. Peter Young, Jim Moran, Rob. We got there as well. Geek on a Bike, love that. Chris Willett checking in from New Brunswick in Canada. Thanks to the Canyon SRAM team for their retweet of our coverage. Steve Glennon, I'm glad you got on board today. Hope you're enjoying the racing today. John McCarthy is checking. Dave Collins as well over on Twitter. Thanks for all of your input. Thanks for all your questions. Can Corne van Kessel get back in here for Tormans and make a battle for the podium? He's not far off the back of this group. This is closable with a little error from anyone in that group ahead of him.
It is, but he's running these sections with the two guys are managing to ride them. And actually these sections to run are super difficult because it totally changes your stride. Often in cross you want fast, fast feet, short steps. And in this you're really having to stride big steps. So it's quite different to any other race.
Vanderpool not far away from the start-finish line again. He's hopefully they've got him this time. There you have it, flashed through the camera. So this is lap 6 of 8. He's going to start lap 7 here. So 45:51 is your time at the end of that one. To lap 7 now for Vanderpool. It's the $1 million question for Mathieu Vanderpool. We look on with interest, don't we, this year in terms of that Olympic title when he runs in Japan this year. But where can he go ultimately? I don't know about you, but for me, he seems, and we talk all the time when anyone comes up that they're going to be a Grand Tour winner, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. 33 seconds back to Isabet Van Turenhout, Van Kessel off the back. For me, Vanderpool looks like a Peter Sagan kind of rider, that a big classics rider, a green jersey winner in the Tour de France. For me, someone like Mathieu, you'd have to shift a huge amount of weight to be a Grand Tour contender. Where do you see him going as a former pro and now a top coach?
I think for sure maybe more of the classics rider. He seems to be able to adapt to any course, on the cross calendar. And I think just the way his body composition is probably going to be more of a classics rider than a Tour de France winner. But again, it's, anything's possible. And when you've got this much talent, you can really turn your hand to anything. So it's really just where he wants to go. You have to remember that he's still such a young rider. And there's, plenty of years left him. And it's just his decision on what he wants to do and where he sees his future going.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? When we've seen riders before slim down. Bradley Wiggins been a good example. Those sort of riders who just manage to shed a certain amount of kilos to make themselves competitive in the mountains. It's just very interesting. The next decade potentially is the Vanderpool decade. Still only 24. This man, Eli Isabet from Pals Southern Bingo, as Corne van Kessel comes over the top there of Michael Van Turenhout. So Pals Southern Bingo have got a fight on their hands here for the podium between themselves and the Dutch rider here for the Tormans team.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these young riders at a young age, kind of under 25, you can kind of turn your hand to anything, and you can have a mixture of road, mountain bike and cross. And then the older you get, you really have to be a little bit more specific and choose what you do and focus on those disciplines a little bit more rather than kind of doing everything. And that's probably what we'll see Mathieu do in the next couple of years.
Just a little glance down there, slides through that section, Vanderpool. And if you look back course of this season, when he started his cross season, won in Rue de Vauda, then went and won the European Championships down in Silvelle in Italy. What a great day out that was. He was marked by a little train of Belgian riders behind him to take that one. Over to Neil the next day, if you were with us for that one. He took that victory there. Then over to the World Cup in Tabor, won that. One in Hammer, one in Rachterbeeke, one in Koksijde, one in Kortrijk, which was another one of the great DVV courses this year. Loved that one. Then on to Mol, and then that winning streak came to an end in Ronse, and then he started the next one in Overijse, one in St. Nicholas, Namur, Zolder, Learnhout, Diegem, Bredene and Otterham yesterday. It looks like he's going to add to that tally here in Brussels University today. And it's this fight here. We had a good battle between Corne van Kessel, Michael van Torenhout, who's had a good day out today. Van Torenhout looked good early on, but no one having the answer to Vanderpool when he went. They're getting a little bit of a groove carved out on this section now, Nikki.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit easier than it was before. Now there's a line there, they can kind of stick to that rather than dipping down to the bottom. But it's again trying to keep the momentum, to keep your speed so that you can actually get on that line in the first place.
It's only about 10 centimetres wide as well, isn't it?
Exactly, it's not easy.
Off there, drops down, off one curb onto the next one. So thanks all of you for getting on board. Remember, get subscribing. So please subscribe to GCN Racing. That does help us. And also hit that bell icon. Give us a thumbs up on our live broadcast today. And so make sure you do that. Van Kessel gets back on here. Can he challenge Elise a bit here for that second spot on the podium? Great long shot there of that fast section. As Van Kessel just recovering here as they go past the pit.
This is a great ride by Corne van Kessel. Yeah, it's a great ride by him.
I think his ride in Namur was a strong one, wasn't it? I mean, Tom Pidcock went down. Unfortunately, he was riding in that third spot. But even on that course, that Namur course, it's quite severe when you look at... Because Corne's, no offence, he's out of all of our cross riders, he's a good unit, isn't he, Corne van Kessel?
He is, yeah, and I mean, he's been around for a long time, and he just have these breakthrough periods where you think, oh, he's going to win a big race pretty soon, and then he doesn't quite hit the form that you think he's going to get. But if you have a good ride at Namur, then you're a strong rider, you've got a good condition, and it doesn't really get any harder than a course like Namur. So, yeah, it's good he's having another good race today.
There's a little replay there of the bike change of Mathieu Vanderpool, looking for that clean canyon as he goes out on the course. He's a bit attacking alongside Corne van Kessel, trying to get through on this off-camber section. Van Kessel wrestles back, doesn't allow him through. There's the focus. Nice close-up shot there of the concentration of Michael van Torenhout behind. Can he get back on to this group? This is, as we said, a solid ride here from Corne van Kessel from Tormans today. This would please that new team, please the sponsors. 28 years old is Corne van Kessel. It's the podiums this year. He's had a good few podiums. Was up there on podium in Learnhout as well. Was on the podium in Namur. Was third in Heaton as well for this man. New team, new focus, new motivation for the Dutchman as Isabet slides out of that section. Nice little shot there of the control there of Ellie Isabet. Vanderpool looking for some green on the side, looking for a little bit of grip. Look at that, absolutely smashes that section.
Yeah, that takes some power to do that. You don't realise just how slippy and how soft that ground is underneath, and just to be able to do that is, yeah, it's pretty special.
It's something to behold, this the way this is riding. Dropping out of that little bomb hole there and onto the run up here. As Vanderpool managed to ride it, everyone else having to run it. Van Torenhout, those sections as well, when you ride them early on, we saw Michael Van Torenhout riding them early on. They've got to hurt the legs as well when you burn in those matches to make the moves like Van Torenhout was making early on, as he makes me eat my words and rides this next section.
Yeah, they definitely do, because you just use so much power, so much energy, and you rarely have to save as much energy as you can in cross, because it's just so intense, so full on, and you just have to recover where you can, and because you just full gas most of the time.
You are indeed. Here we go. Mathieu Vanderpool is on the road. So lap 7 of 8 gets the bell this time. Vanderpool goes through 53.33 for Mathieu Vanderpool. Digging in now, really is in full time trial mode. Last lap here on GCN Racing, the Brussels University Cross. The fight, though, for the second and third spots on the podium. I'd love to see a bit of a sprint between these three.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? We'll have to wait and see if anyone makes mistakes in these next couple of technical sections on the next lap.
It's that those little mistakes, those little errors that can creep in. Here's Vanderpool out just swinging on the back of the group. They go through there, and they are at 39 seconds to Mathieu Vanderpool as he rides this section. We saw him make some little moves here a little bit earlier on. Another great course here on the DVV Trofee, Brussels University. It's doubling up today from Mathieu Vanderpool. That's that little left-handed dismount, that little slide shows good control. I was playing with that the other day in a little off-camber section, 1 foot out. We see Tone Arts do it. It's you've got to watch these and go out and try it, haven't you, as a cross rider? Anyone that's out there watching this.
Yeah, I'm always telling the athletes that I coach, you know, they have to practice these parts that they're racing in their technical training sessions in the week. You know, you have to have confidence on your bike to be able to go fast and put that power down.
129 for your chasing group behind. Good to see, and just correct myself, thanks to John McCarthy, I can completely, you know, when you have my brain melts down all the time when I'm doing this job. So it was Gulligum yesterday, wasn't it? Not Ottogum. I was getting myself confused there. So
yeah, Ottogum was a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Thanks, John, for correcting. You know what I'm like. I do try. It's one of those times when you're thinking something and whatever comes out your mouth is something completely different. So happens to me regularly.
There's been a lot of races, so you're going to get a few things wrong, I think.
They are indeed. They do try. They do run into each other a little bit sometimes. Great battle here. Corny Van Kessel. Elisabeth just tracking Corny Van Kessel here right on the wheel. Van Torenhout is right with them as well. Where is second and third spot on the podium here today? We know where first place is going as Vanderpool just controls that deceleration into that section. Has had this course perfectly nailed. That little off that he had in the carousel section early on, it allowed that chasing group to come back to him when he made his move. He made it count as the Corny Van Kessel just opens up a couple of little meters here over Elisabeth, just hanging that right foot out of that section. And Vanderpool running here. We're not far away now from celebrating our winner coming into the finish today. This is the race for second place, as it is so often in this one, onto this off-camber section. There's that little ridge you can see that's being carved out as the racing's gone on. Elisabeth drops down heavily. The back wheel there of Elisabeth gets back up to Corny Van Kessel. Vanderpool, little slide out there on those routes. You don't see mistakes very often.
No, that's how you know a course is quite hard. Yeah, that's how you know a course is pretty difficult when Matthew's making a couple of mistakes.
Running there, Van Kessel. That's what I like about this course, is the fact that you can't just ride everything, can you? There's a lot of courses that you see out there, and when they're dry, when they're not super muddy, they're not. It's basically like a grass criterium. This today, the way it forces everyone off, it's not that. You see a complete cross rider today, potentially.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of skills on this course, and I think also you have to adapt every single lap. You know, one section you can ride one lap, and then the next you might hit it a little bit differently, and you might have to get off and run. And you have to always be thinking ahead and ready to get off and keep that momentum and keep that speed. It's not easy to do, especially when you're full gas and on your limit in the last lap.
Off that section, Van Kessel onto the road, that little road, the little surface changes. It's Elisabeth that's right with him. Van Torenhout is dropped back. Van Kessel had this last lap charge. Does have a good final lap, doesn't he, Corny Van Kessel?
Yeah, and I think he's got a pretty good sprint on him as well, if I remember. So, yeah, this should be interesting.
Gets through there quite tight. Vanderpool, the low camera angle as they drop down onto this off-camber section. And Vanderpool going left and right here, just trying to find a little bit of grip on the top line. Another great day out for him. He's a bit cannot afford any mistakes here on this one. Neither can Corne van Kessel, who would be a great result for Van Kessel today. This would be, if he can take second place here today, this will be his best result so far this season out of his race starts. He's had that third step on the podium. We'll want that first step going into national championships next week, and the legs there of Van Turenhout really starting to look tired.
Yeah, they have. I think if Corne can manage to stay with Ellie on this section, then he'll be in with a chance of getting that second place, but looks like Ellie's having a bit of a dig there.
Ellie Isabit has he's another rider with a great final lap. He showed us that in Basel. Now he's attacking Corne van Kessel for that second spot. The man that leads in the general classification here in the DVV Trophy now opens up about 15-20 meter gap, hangs that left foot out as he tries to hold that speed through that left-hand corner. They see our leader doubling back just ahead of them for Alpecin Phoenix. The rainbow jersey drops down into this section. Then we get into that little amphitheatre section as Ellie Isabit holds that. Can Corne van Kessel carry a little bit more speed through the planks? Bunny hops that section. Isabit digs in again, attacks as Van Turenhout sitting here in fourth place. Vanderpool exits that section. Now we'll try and ride this one. Almost came to a halt there on the left. Vanderpool manages to keep going though.
Yeah, this course requires so many skills, and you obviously see Mathieu, you know, he's been doing this for so many years, and he's obviously, you know, using all of them today.
He is indeed, remounts the bike of that one. Corne van Kessel trying to find his feet as Ellie Isabit descends this section. Brussels University, as we said, this sort of natural amphitheatre that you have here. Van Kessel sprints down through that section. Ellie Isabit rides on that one. Van Kessel chooses to run that section yet again. Will that afford Ellie Isabit another few fractions of a second? Sprinting Ellie Isabit up this section. Great runner is Isabit. Look at the power now of Corne van Kessel trying to pull back that gap. That you'll be hoping that maybe there might be a small, minute mistake from Ellie Isabit that might allow him to get back in here on to the road section. Here is your winner for the second year running at the Brussels University Cross from Alpecin Phoenix. Mathieu Vanderpool high fives the crowd all the way down to the line. Another day, another Mathieu Vanderpool victory. We'll wait for the arrival now of Ellie Isabit as Vanderpool will get himself ready for the podium. It looks like Isabit definitely has cracked Corne van Kessel now. He exits that section just as Van Kessel comes out of that corner. Here's your second place. He's going to cement his lead in the DVV Trophy. Overall, Ellie Isabit crosses the line in second place, 29 seconds. Lost to Mathieu Vanderpool, but he just has one round to go. Van Kessel equals his best performance so far this season at 37 seconds. Michael Van Turenhout crossing the line there at 41 seconds. Those are your podiums. They can get themselves into the tent and get themselves cleaned up. Here comes Jens Adams, your next rider, the privateer in that white jersey. So he will ride in next, and impressive ride, the final lap there. Ellie Isabit, great power over the course of that final lap.
Yeah, he was almost just waiting back, and then as soon as he wanted to make his move, he just went for it. And I think Corne was pretty spent at that point. But at the same time, I think Corne will be massively happy with that third place today. He's had a really great ride, and it will give him a lot of confidence for these next couple of weeks.
Well, indeed, 128 to Jens Adams. So the Belgian riders, Isabit, Van Turenhout, Adams, and they were talking to Wout van Aert yesterday after the race in Gullegem, and they were saying Ellie Isabit probably the favourite for the nationals as Tom Meusen comes in there at 142. So that's 6 riders in, and here's Tim Malier. He's going to cross the line here for 7th. So it's Tim Malier at 155. 5. I'll apologise that I cursed him early on. Great recovery by Erwin Vervecken here after that crash. Had to run back to the pits. That's a good result after that.
It is. It shows he's got good condition, and yeah, he'll be up there again next week at the Belgian Championships. Maybe got a bit of fire in his belly after that incident today, and he'll use it for the Belgian Nationals next week.
Indeed, Lars van der Haar comes in for 9th. We're looking for the arrival of our 10th place rider. Is it Vinny Bastians here? Vincent Bastians from Group Hens Maas. If he gets 10th, this will be a good day for this team, with Tom Meusen getting up there as well.
Yeah, for sure. 2 good rides there.
Okay, Group Hens Maas Containers, who comes in for 10th place there voor Vinny Bastians.
Maar maak eens je eigen rapport. Met voldoening of met onderscheiding?
Met voldoening, denk ik. Ik had eigenlijk best een goede dag vandaag, maar het was technisch wel zeer moeilijk, zoals ik vooraf voorspeld had, om echt op de limiet te rijden, omdat het zo glad was.
Ja, er was dat spandoek dat je per se van dichtbij wil inspecteren.
Ja, ik denk dat ik met mijn pedaal achter bleef haken, maar ja, het is daar. Ja, het is met mijn pedaal, het ziet er heel spectaculair uit misschien, maar het was eigenlijk niet zo'n heel harde val.
Kwam het omdat je, zoals Sven Nys zei, misschien de kantjes, de limiet erop zocht?
Ja, dat klopt. We proberen altijd zoveel mogelijk gras op te zoeken en ja, dat ligt natuurlijk helemaal aan de buitenkanten tegen de spandoeken, dus dat is natuurlijk het risico.
Kunnen we zeggen, ja, je reed dan weg waar je wou?
Ja, dat misschien niet echt. Maar ik had wel echt een heel goede dag. Maar ik denk dat ik op misschien het lastigste stuk van de omloop wel het verschil heb gemaakt. Ja, voor mij toch het lastigste stuk. Dus. Maar op zich, ja, ik ben wel tevreden van mijn cross.
En weer een dubbel in het weekend voor de Nederlandse kampioenschappen.
Ja, inderdaad. Dus ik kan alleen maar tevreden zijn. Ik denk dat het een mooie editie was, zoals ik vooraf aangaf. Vind ik de veranderingen die dit jaar in het parcours gebeurd zijn heel positief. En zeker een cross die kan groeien, maar dat heb ik vorig jaar ook gezegd. En volgend weekend is het eindelijk nog eens een enkel crossweekend. Dus deze week terug wat meer tijd om wat te trainen.
Ja, dat Nederlands kampioenschap in Rukven, hoe trek je daar naartoe? Want ja, je bent meer dan de gedoodverfde favoriet.
Ja, dat is bijna elke cross waar ik start nu natuurlijk. Maar ik heb inderdaad de beste papieren. Ik denk dat Corné ook heel goed bezig is de laatste tijd. Dus de wedstrijd moet altijd nog gereden worden. Maar ik kan niet ontkennen dat ik de topfavoriet ben.
Dankjewel en proficiat met de winst vandaag. Dan schuiven we door naar de tweede van de dag, Eli Iserbiet. Mooi duel voor plek 2 met Corné van Kessel. En uiteindelijk trok je het laken naar je toe. Beschrijf eens die beslissende fase.
Ja, op het einde, ik wist dat hij de schuine kant iets trager aansneed dan ik. Of ja, de tweede schuine kant. Dus daar heb ik wel het verschil proberen maken. In het begin had ik een lastige wedstrijd nog plat en gevallen. En ik raakte moeilijk in mijn ritme, maar dan uiteindelijk had ik nog net iets meer over aan Corné, die overigens wel een heel goede wedstrijd reed.
Die lekke band, ik had de indruk dat je vrij snel kon terugkeren.
Ja, dat wel, maar ik reed eigenlijk lek net na de tweede keer post. En dat was echt wel ja, klote om het zo te zeggen. Ik heb dan een halve toer eigenlijk een beetje moeten op mijn limiet rijden, waar de rest nog rustig reed. Maar dan daarna, ja, positie is heel belangrijk hier en ik wilde zo snel mogelijk terugkeren, maar toen naar Mathieu ging had ik echt geen antwoord meer.
Hoe ziet jouw ultieme aanloop richting BK Antwerpen eruit?
Een beetje trainen, een beetje rusten, een beetje tv kijken en dan de wedstrijd rijden van mijn leven en hopelijk op nummer 1 eindigen.
Dat is duidelijk. Dankjewel.
Elisabeth there, Mathieu Vanderpool. My Dutch, I'm trying to improve on my Dutch. Mathieu Vanderpool saying he caught his pedal there and went down quite spectacularly from what I'm picking out from that one.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I mean, I lived in Belgium for quite a while. I guess I should know it off by heart, but yeah, I can understand some of that there, and that's what he was saying. He just clipped it on the corner as he was coming out, and he just went straight over the bars. Spectacularly.
Yeah, frites and mayonnaise. Got to have your frites and mayonnaise. Get your beers in. Don't forget, if you're out there and you're watching and you're having your frites and you've been out and you bought your Belgian beers and you're watching our GCN racing coverage, don't forget, send us a little video. Let us know where you're watching. You can get that on the GCN app. As love a little bow in the fur there. Here's Corné van Kessel.
Het probleem dat je toch wel serieus parten speelde. Vertel eens.
Ja, ik pakte mijn bocht en er lagen wat wortels en is de ketting sprong eraf en die zat direct vast tussen het frame. kon hem er redelijk goed terug op krijgen, maar ik voelde dat de ketting wat geraakt was, daardoor moeten wisselen.
Hoeveel tijd verloor je daarmee?
Ja, ik verloor vooral de aansluiting. Ik denk dat ik een seconde of 5 moest terugpakken op Michael en Eli. Maar ja, al bij al nog een goede wedstrijd gereden.
Op dat moment reed je op een seconde of 8 van Mathieu van der Poel eigenlijk.
Ja, dat weet ik, maar ik denk dat ik me eigenlijk toch geconcentreerd had op de tweede plaats. En ja, nu is het een derde plaats geworden, ondanks de problemen die ik gehad heb.
Het weekend van de podiumplaatsen, ideaal scenario voor jou in de aanloop naar Rukven?
Ja, ik probeer gewoon weekend per weekend te rijden en de kerstperiode is heel zwaar geweest. Dus ik hoor dat Mathieu gaat trainen, maar ik ga vooral rusten.
Rusten, thuis?
Ja, thuis niet te veel doen deze week in aanloop naar het kampioenschap. En dan vertrekken we met de wegploeg een week naar Spanje naar het kampioenschap.
Dankjewel, Corné van Kessel en proficiat.
Corné van Kessel. It's great to, Nikki, it's great to see another team up here recognising cyclocross as the future and looking to try and deliver for their sponsors 12 months of the year, as the Wanty Group Gobert team are doing with Quentin Hermans and Corné van Kessel.
It is for sure, and hopefully more will do the same. I mean, the coverage for cyclocross is great. You know, there's 2 races on pretty much every single weekend from September till February, so it's great coverage for sponsors and they're getting a lot of exposure. And yeah, for riders to be up there and on the podium, that's everything for them.
Let's have a look back through what was a great race. Tim Merlier was leading out. Vanderpool came through. This was Tim Merlier's first little off of the day. Came down there, tried to hand sling round through that section. And Mathieu Vanderpool got a bit of a gap. And this was a little burn here from Vanderpool. And that section managed to ride that. Took off here. Isabit, Van Kessel, Adams, Merlier, Yanni Vermeersch also there. The long stride as Michael Vantoren out sprinted to stay with him. That was the off there. Caught his pedal, as he said, went down spectacularly. Did Mathieu Vanderpool. Got back into that front group. Just bided his time. Waited until the moment where he wanted to go. Eli Isabit went down behind. Took Tim Merlier with him. This off camber section, you can see those exposed routes posed lots of problems for riders. As Yanni Vermeersch went down there, Krief in Friedstad, he had to run to the pits. This was the attack of Vanderpool, and you could see the expression on the faces of Eli Isabit and Michael Vantoren out behind him. Really, from that point, there was no coming back, was there, Nikki?
No, he decided to go for it, and they almost just kind of was like, okay, that's his move. Can't do that today. I'm going to save my energy and just fight for second place. And they were all saying actually on their interviews, like, you know, they're being asked what are they doing this week for the championships, and they're all just saying rest, you know, watching a bit of TV, a bit of bike riding, rest. So, you know, it's a big block this Christmas period, and, you know, everyone's feeling that bit of fatigue now, and there's a few big weeks coming up, so recovery is super important.
They'll be hoping after what has been essentially a big cross stage race that they'll get that super compensation. Eli Isabit attacked that group behind. Vanderpool rides in, the winning streak continues. Eli Isabit second place behind for the Poel 1000 bingo rider, and he still leads overall. Remember, the DVV Trofee is on a cumulative time, not on points. There's your result today. Mathieu Vanderpool, 1 hour and 1 and 23 seconds. Isabit, Van Kessel, then Vantoren out. Adams, Meyusen, Merlier, Vermeersch, Van der Haar and Bastians were your top 10. 2 minutes and 46 seconds separating the top 10 overall. We'll see if they give us the general standings in the DVV Trofee fairly quickly, but Eli Isabit's only losing fraction to Mathieu Vanderpool with 1 round to come in Lille. Great to see all the young fans out and enjoying the racing today. Sometimes, Nikki, you just have to kind of go, yeah, he's amazing, isn't he?
yeah, and a day like today, there's not really anything anyone could do to kind of match him. You know, it's it was just in his own world again, and he just went for it, and you just have to watch him right away, really.
Yeah, let's give you the standings. I think we can give you those now. The DVV Trofee overall, and Eli Isabit, as we said, he leads in that competition. Mathieu Vanderpool closes the gap very slightly in that one. They just took it away. So they just gave it to me, and then they took it away. Super Sid will get them back for us, and we'll give you the DVV Trofee overall. We're not far away from the podium today. Everyone getting ready to get out there on the podium. We'll bring you you our podium pictures as they move out onto that one. They'll go behind the podiums, getting away this week, and they'll get themselves ready for the national championships to come next week. Looking around, Vanderpool favourite for the Dutch. The Belgians, I think, for the men is going to be quite open, Nikki.
Yeah, I think we could see quite a good race between maybe 3 or 4 riders there. But I mean, maybe Ellie's got a bit of an upper hand at the moment. It just, again, depends how everybody recovers after this week of, you know, not racing for like 4 or 5 days, really. Because for the last couple of weeks, it's been day on, day off, and everyone's a little bit fatigued, and everybody comes back from recovery a little bit differently. So we'll just have to see how that goes next weekend.
Let's give you the DVV Trofee overall. And Ellie Isabet still leading Mathieu Vanderpool. It's now 3:37 with 1 round to go. Michael van Tornhout in 3rd. Corny van Kessel 4th. Tim Malier, Lars van der Haar, Tom Meus and Jens Adams Tonarts now in 9th place. And Jim Arnout's rounding out the top 10. So a few changes in that overall, but with 1 round to go, Ellie is a bit looking fairly comfortable in terms of the DVV Trophy overall. And as he sort of moves from under 23 to elite, that's a really important stepping stone in his career, taking the DVV Trophy.
Yeah, that's a solid result for him, and I think just having that consistency for the whole season is something that he'll be proud of. And yeah, I can't see him finishing any other place than 1st overall, just, you know, with 1 round to go. And I'm not even sure whether Mathieu will be at that last round. You know, he might be taking a bit of recovery, ready for his road mountain bike season. So we'll have to see.
We'll go over to the podium now. They're getting ready for the podium. There's Corny van Kessel, and he's got his mortarboard on today. That's a good hat, isn't it? We see different hats, don't we, around the world? San Sebastian Classic and races like that. Good to celebrate being at the Brussels Uni today and going with the mortarboard.
Yeah, something different.
Ellie Isabet, 2nd place for Poel Sausen Bingo. Good to see 3 different teams on the podium today, and he gets his mortarboard.
Yeah.
Bit tight there, that one.
Yeah, some it suits him better than others, I think.
I don't know if they'll throw them all up in the air at the end of this one.
Oh yeah, they should do. Go wild.
Got to say, this man, and he schooled everyone today, didn't he? And yes, masterclass from Mathieu Vanderpool again here at Brussels Uni. He is on the top step of the podium today, and he gets his special hat. Graduates with honours here in Brussels Uni. Can I get any more educational puns in before the end of this one? I'm sorry.
I guess no one can make it look cooler than Mathieu, can they? So.
Yeah, it's when you know we look at Mathieu now, don't we? It's like, yeah, what's cooler than being cool? There's like Mathieu Vanderpool.
Exactly.
Another keg of beer. So the mechanic, as Nikki said when we were here in Bath, it's usually the mechanics that inherit those massive kegs. If he doesn't, he's got a good stock pub by the time he retires from racing.
Yeah, he definitely has. I think that'll be shared out for sure.
There's a good shot of your podium. Yeah, your podium there. Mathieu Vanderpool, Ellie Isabet and Corny van Kessel when Vanderpool made his big move. They really had no answer for it, and plenty of, you see, some great prizes. I always think Belgian bike races, they're just looking at the prizes. I'm always so intrigued as to what they have, because they're always really different from town to town.
Yeah, they definitely are, and even the Dutch races, actually, you get usually nice little selection boxes and stuff from them. It's they usually have good prizes as well, nice flowers.
There's your podium confirmation. Mathieu Vanderpool, Ellie Isabet and Corny van Kessel, your top 3 today. Great day's racing that we had. The man can really do no wrong. Now, before we go to our highlights today, we want to try and bring you the Helen 100, which is the junior race that took place earlier on today. Helen Wyman doing a great job in setting this up. Let's have a look back at the highlights here at the Brussels University of the Helen 100. riders early on in the day. And what started as an initiative by Helen Wyman to fund 100 riders for the British National Championships has grown into this junior women's series. And it was a Dutch-dominated affair today. And I think looking at the way this series has been ridden so far, Nikki, going into the first junior women's World Championships, this has been a really, really essential series, hasn't it?
Yeah, this is brilliant for these girls just to get exposure, get kind of a taste for what European racing is, and not just the racing with the junior boys. You know, they get a race of their own and they can battle each other. And you can see a great field. You know, there must be 40 girls there today or something. And, you know, that's what the sport needs. And, you know, these are the stars of the future at the end of the day. So it's great to see. A really good initiative from Helen.
And just a couple of riders just going down at the bottom of that descent, showing that they're made of tough stuff. And it was Fem van Empel, Leonie Bentveld, Isa Nomden, Sophie van Rooyen that were all very much within sort of minute and 11 seconds of each other, up there in the top 10 as well. Mir Knaven, Ilse Pulmers, Sene Knaven, Bilby Verwicht, we had Sterre Vervlut, who was up there as well, and Julia Kopecky, all up in that top 10. Some of the other non-Belgian and Dutch riders we had in there, Vanda Dashklova riding just outside the top 10 today. And the rider, Fem van Empel, has been battling with the American contingent in the other rounds of the Helen 100 so far. Madigan Monroe, Lizzie Gonzalez and Zoe Backstead that have both been up there in that one for Fem. She was riding clear and would ride away to take a phenomenal victory here in the Helen 100. So a great collaboration between Helen Wyman and Galazzo here at the DVV Trofee to get this series going. That was Fem van Empel crossing the line in the Helen 100. She took it from Leonie Bentveld and Isa Nomden. That was your top three on the podium today. Van Empel, great ride there. I think again you just shows we were talking about generally about the race there, but the couple of riders came off on that little descent there. It just shows for anyone that's new to cross riders made of tough stuff, don't they? They kind of just went down there on the go.
Yeah. Definitely, they're robust, and they kind of have to adapt to anything, and crash is a part of that, and they just get back up and carry on. That's what's great about cross.
And a lot of them will now, again, go away to next week's National Championship. Thanks for all your company today. If you don't want to know what happened in the elite women's race, then you might want to press mute or just look away for a moment. We're going to give you some highlights of all the day's action today. You can look away in 3, 2, 1. What a day's racing we had ahead of us. Ceylin Del Carmen, Alvarado 12 months ago was the winner here. A breakthrough performance by the Dutch rider. She took it ahead of Low Sales and Lara Verdonschot. On this occasion, it was Annemarie Huest that led out from Sarnakant. Yara Castelline up there, Anna Kay and Alvarado on the inside, looking to keep that 100% record here in the Brussels University Cross. 2 years and 2 victories. It was a leading group that formed of Alvarado, Huest and Anna Kay. These riders have battled backwards and forwards throughout this season of Huest and Alvarado. The fight for the third spot on the podium became a battle between the world champion Sarnakant of Belgium from Eco Ceylin and Anna Kay of Experza. Couple of little errors from Alvarado. It's allowed Annemarie Huest to get a small advantage, but this battle would go right down to the final lap of the race. The 777 rider kicking on. Again, another time Alvarado nailing that section. Anna Kay and Sarnakant were battling and attacking each other behind for that third spot. As the race went on, the tiny errors by Huest started to creep in. Alvarado attacked. Huest would find her way back on this occasion after Alvarado had gone down in pretty much the same point early on in the race. The final lap, Huest crashed. This gave Alvarado the lead, and she would not look back. She is on phenomenal form, is the Alpecin Phoenix rider, winner of the previous day's race in Hulham. Goes into Dutch National Championships next week on phenomenal form. 2 years and 2 victories for Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado. Annemarie Huers crossing the line in 2nd place, and Sana Kant manages to get the better of Anna Kay for 3rd place. There's your top 10 overall. Alvarado from Huers, Kant, Kay, Compton, Bakker, Norbert Riberola, Castelline, Lechner and Van Looy. 2 minutes and 41. Into the elite men's race, Mathieu Vanderpool, also winner 12 months ago of the Brussels University Cross. The lights went green, off and racing. Ellie Isabet leading in the DVV Vervecken Trofee overall, 4 minutes and 12 ahead of Mathieu Vanderpool and 5:10 ahead of Michael Van Torenau early on in the race. A select leading group of Vanderpool, Van Torenau, Van Kessel, but not far behind were the likes of Jens Adams, Tim Malier, Yanni Vermeersch, Tom Meusen and Ellie Isabet sprinting to try and get into the group. Vanderpool made his move, clipped his pedal on the barriers and went down. This allowed the chasing group to come back into the leading group. Van Torenau having a great day, so was Corny Van Kessel, and Ellie Isabet of Paulshausen Bingo would also find his way up to the front group. When Vanderpool went, though, the riders in that chasing group behind had no answer. He had them on the ropes, and this was his race-winning move. Isabet, Van Kessel, Van Torenau and Merlier would then form the battle for the podium places. Vanderpool, very few errors over the course of the final laps of the race after Van Kessel had got up to the Paulshausen duo. Isabet, with that familiar last lap charge, went clear. Vanderpool rode in to victory as his winning streak continues, doubles up in this weekend's racing. He takes the victory. Isabet defends the lead in the DVV Trofee overall, coming in under 30 seconds down, 29 behind Vanderpool. Another podium for Corny Van Kessel from the Tormans cyclo-cross team. Confirmation of your top 10, Mathieu Vanderpool takes it from Ellie Isabet, Corny Van Kessel with Van Torenau, Adams, Meusen, Malier, Vermeersch, Van der Haar and Bastians, your top 10 overall. A great day out racing. Nikki, Mathieu Vanderpool looking on phenomenal form. There's quite a few riders, would you say, in that top 10 that maybe take a little bit of confidence away from today. The likes of Tom Meusen and Vinny Bastians as 2 riders there from Group Hens Mass, but also potentially the likes of Jens Adams, who rode a solid race, and Yanni Vermeersch, who came back from that crash to still make it into the top 10.
I think so. I think the riders with a good condition are still racing well at this point in the season. You know, like there's been so many races the last couple of weeks. It almost becomes a bit of a crazy haze by this point. And if you've got good legs today, then that shows you've got good form because you've come through this block well. And, you know, as long as you rest up now for nationals and kind of look after yourself the next couple of weeks, and the end of your season should be pretty good.
Now, but I'm sure you'll all join me in thanking Nikki for her insight over the last couple of races. For those, Nikki, that are interested in what you're up to, I believe you're out there, you're coaching riders. If anyone wants to be coached by someone that's been up there and done it, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can just shoot me an email, you know, follow my Instagram, my Twitter. You'll see bits on there. Medita.com has got a lot of information on my coaching. But yeah, cross, mountain bike, road. I just want to pass on as much of my experience as possible and, you know, see you progress and help you guys. So get in touch.
You do that. Thanks to Nikki. Thanks to all of you for watching. Don't forget, subscribe to GCN Racing. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that bell icon. We'll be back with more live cyclocross very soon from Nikki Brammeier and me, Martin McDonald. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.